we have the Air Force Academy Falcons against number 7th ranked Michigan Wolverines. Air Force under the direction of Troy Calhoun, the head coach in his 11th year with the program. Also an Air Force Academy alum, and he is known for running the triple option. So what do you expect Michigan and their defense to handle this offense?
Ladies and gentlemen, now taking the field
for Michigan today, normally they run the 3-3 against a flexible offense like this. I really expect them to go with a 4-man front. Expect to see Monet in for a lot of snaps today. Really want the D tackles in there. A lot more guys than they're going to be running the ball a ton. You've got to have as many guys in the box as possible without really overcommitting to their offense. They can switch it up, go with passes. Arian Ruthman, their quarterback, number 2, is really an excellent player. He can hurt in a lot of ways, especially if you're in the air. Last week, had a very good game passing wise, 8 for 12. 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really versatile player. We'll see how Michigan's defense plays this. I really expect them to be able to dominate Air Force up front. Really, their offensive line is quite small. That tends to happen with football program. Michigan has the talent to stop them for sure, but really the problem when you're playing against the triple option is the discipline. Can Michigan stay disciplined, play man-to-man, read the option just as the offense is reading them, make the right play.
Yeah, and Don Brown, again, Michigan's defensive coordinator, said he's been preparing for this game since April. The Air Force Falcons love to run that triple option that not all teams run. It's something that's more common in high school, but not a lot of college teams run. So we'll see if Don Brown's defense is prepared. And on the other side of the ball, how do you think that Michigan's offense will handle when Air Force has to bring defense?
Well, Air Force, they play a 3-4 base defense. They'll try and put as many guys in the box as possible. They'll bring the strong safety up right up on the line. Go with 8 guys in the box routinely, send a lot of blitzes, and they try to pressure the quarterback first and foremost. And that can really be a problem for this Michigan defense. Obviously, Golden State has had some struggles the first couple of weeks handling pressure, throwing errant passes, fumbling the ball. Air Force is really going to turn up the pressure and force him to beat that air run. Try and stop the run. Sell him to stop the run. Force Michigan pass. This is going to be a big goal this week. We'll see if he can step up and really prove that.
And Michigan will receive the first half kickoff, so we'll get a chance first to see how long it's going. Not very often you see a guy kicking really right out the back of the end zone off the turf completely. That is quite a move. That's you see on the spin. The Michigan offense to start off this game. Golden State so far 402 yards completions. 402 yards and 3 touchdowns in this season. He lines up in the I formation. He's going to hand the ball off. It's play action. He's going to look deep. He has a man deep. It's well covered. And that was Capone Crawford on the incompletion. Mike Bullard did the corner for the Falcons. Interesting to see Michigan go with a deep shot right away there. Air Force does play a cover 1 scheme with 1 deep safety. We can go man-to-man across the board. That means Michigan should be able to get some deep shots.
Second down and 10.
Would really expect Michigan's wide receivers to blow by these Air Force cornerbacks as well.
Second and 10 after the incompletion, stayed with the single back. Now poking motions in as the fullback. The single back is Ty Isaac. Spade drops back again, looks to pass. It's a swing to Isaac on the sideline, and it's a great tackle there on the sideline.
To Ty Isaac.
And I think that was Daly.
Wolverine on the 10.
See a guy go out in coverage like a running back there, they can still pick him up.
3rd and 12 for Spade. He runs up in the shotgun, looks to pass again, has some time, and he goes to the sideline to Tariq Black, and that's a conclusion. Right there with a stick for his head. What is number by Shane? Shaquille from
First down, Michigan.
Great first and foremost, Michigan. Spade had a lot of time through all of his reads across the field to Crawford on the outside. That was an excellent throw.
And the first down extends Michigan's drive. Spade lines at the offset eye. Khalil Hill now in at fullback. Eddie McDoom goes in motion. Spade hands it off to Isaac, who has the hole. He's running down the left sideline at the 40, the 30. Breaks the tackle, and looks like he's going to score. That's going to be a Michigan touchdown.
The referee saying step out of bounds way back at the 30.
Falcons territory at the 30-yard line.
Watching the replay, did clearly step out of bounds there. Good call by the referee. But interesting to see Michigan normally sets up passing plays by running the ball. Kind of went the opposite way there.
Michigan in the power eye, hand off to Chris Evans, his first carry of the game, and he's going to surge forward for about 2 or 3 yards.
Chris Evans was the ball carrier.
It's interesting to see Michigan do well on the ground here so far. Air Force tries to put people in the box. They want people to try and throw on. But Michigan does have the size advantage. They really should be able to grind it out against them.
Michigan now lined up in the power eye formation. Ben Mason, the true freshman, in at fullback. Chris Evans dots the eye. The pitch is to the left to Evans. Evans has some room, and he breaks a few tackles. He's going to make it very close to the first down at about the 20-yard line.
That's just real man football right there. Michigan O-line sat there, not a single wide receiver on the field. The toss out, had some low blockers out in front, easily get that first down.
Yeah, Michigan looks like he's just short of the first down. They're going to bring out another power formation. Only one receiver, that's Nate Sanders to the left. Power eye with Hill, the fullback, and Isaac, the running back. And the handoff is to Hill, who barrels forward for a first down.
Yeah, interesting. Michigan went with passes in the first 3 plays. Surprised we're not seeing more of a mix. Really play action here after 3 consecutive plays.
To Hill gave Michigan a first down, and they're at the Air Force 18 and in the red zone now, looking to score. Spade is going to line up in the shotgun with Ty Isaac to his right, 2 receivers to his right, and Gentry to his right. Spade drops back, looks to throw, throws it across the field to Grant Perry, and that's going to be a little bit too wide.
Yeah, out routes, Perry ran right there. Really effective against man coverage. Spade just a little bit. Obviously, that's got a problem for Spade. He's overthrowing his receivers.
Spade now, 2nd and 10, lines up in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his right. Handoff is to Karan Higdon, who gets his first carry of the game, and Higdon's going to pick up about 2 yards with the Air Force front 7.
Yeah, interesting. Michigan kind of spread it out, spread formation, trying to catch Air Force off guard with the inside zone run. Air Force was not really buying it. They looked like they had a safety up there on a blitz. Would have liked to see Speed maybe a little what Air Force wants to do. They want to force teams into obvious passing situations. They send the house. Right there, number 51, Evans, was literally untouched. No blocker was there to account for him.
It's
really tough to make a completion of that.
From the 25-yard line.
So the fourth down brings up the Michigan kicking unit. It's Quinn Noreen, the redshirt freshman. And the kick is up, and it's good. Michigan on their first drive.
Especially, it's just kind of odd when passing, fully committed to the passing side, and then only running into other passing. Hopefully they kind of mix it up a little bit with their pass. When Air Force sees Michigan in that shotgun formation, you can see
Michigan later expanded its lead with a 30-yard Robinson Pacheco Hodges touchdown pass. In the third quarter, it's the score Denard.
Very good sign.
Air Force kept the game close, but Denard Robinson pulled it in, finishing with 218 yards rushing for 2 touchdowns and 208 yards passing for another 2 TDs. He became the first Division I FBS player to have 3 with at least 200 yards passing and 200 yards rushing.
In the pregame, and an electrifying play both with his legs and his arm. Sort of brings 2 dimensions to the game, and we're going to have a chance to see him as Air Force begins their first drive of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Worthman and the A-back, number 33, Tim McVeigh, are their 2 best offensive players. You know, they want to get the ball to the outside. McVeigh's got great speed. They want to get out there where they've got corners in space trying to make tackles, and then Worthman can pitch it out to McVeigh, and then he's got a one-on-one matchup with a corner who's maybe not a very strong tackler. We can get by him, get the edge, and just speed right down the field. You know, hopefully, I would expect Michigan to come out, maybe dare Air Force to just run it up the middle every play. You know, in flex zone offense, they have no problem taking that fullback dive every single play. You know, in theory, they believe that they can get 4 or 5 yards every down, but with big D tackles like Monet and Mo Hurst, and linebackers that are as aggressive and good tacklers as Devin Bush and Mike McCray, I think they should be able to stop any big plays from happening up the middle.
And Michigan and Air Force have both taken the field as the senior James Foe from Palo Alto, California, is set to kick off and give Air Force their first offensive drive of the game. The kick is a booming kick. McVeigh is the man to return it. Has some space by the 20, but he's immediately met by a horde of Michigan defenders.
Interesting, that was something we mentioned last week, was Michigan kicked it into the end zone every single kickoff last week, and Cincinnati elected to kneel it every time. You know, you get great starting field position when you kneel it up at the 25, but Cincinnati last week did just what Michigan did right here, kicking it just short of the goal line, forcing the team to return it, and, you know, you never end up with quite as good starting field position.
Worthman under center will end up in the classic flexbone formation. McVeigh goes in motion and goes back, and now Worthman is checking on the sideline for a play. 10 to go on the play clock. Worthman set to take the snap. He goes in motion. The pitch is to Cleveland. Cleveland has some room and a lead blocker, and he's chased out of bounds by Josh Metellus. And there's also Noah Furbush, the senior, on the tackle.
Yeah, interesting. They go with the rocket toss to start the game and not the triple option, but Michigan was all over that. You know, would expect them to get more caught more off guard there. They were they did well to stop that.
And Air Force quickly back to the line, and they're going to check to the sideline again. And there's a flag on the play right now before the snap got off, and we'll have to take a look and see what this is. And that's going to be an encroachment penalty on Maurice Hurst. And after the 2nd and 5, that will be a 5-yard penalty, and enough to give Air Force their first down of the game.
Yeah, Air Force doing that twice in a row. They're kind of going with the dummy motion there.
And the handoff was up the middle, and that's going to be stuffed for a gain of 2 yards to to the Air Force 30. The handoff was to Tim McVeigh, but nothing really going there.
Yeah, again, I would expect Michigan to force Air Force to go inside regularly. I'm more afraid of McVeigh going out, getting the edge, and running upfield. Inside, that's where Michigan's strength is on defense. With the middle linebacker, Devin Bush, he should be able to stop that all day.
Air Force again in the flex bone. Michigan in the 3-3-5 right now. Michigan shows blitz. Workman's going to keep it himself with the speed option, and he's tackled immediately by Winovich and David Long.
Yeah, Michigan taking away that pitch all the way. They were not going to let him pitch the ball and let him get outside. Good work right there.
And this is going to bring up a 3rd and 4 for the Falcons. Facing their first 3rd down of the game. The crowd getting on its feet right here in the big house. Workman now going to line up in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff to McVeigh. He's running right, and he's tackled by a swarm of Wolverines led by David Long.
Great work by Long there. You know, Michigan was not biting on that play fake on the inside handoff. Great work, great pursuit by the whole defense. Everyone was there for that tackle.
David Long already with 2 tackles on the day, and that's going to force a punt by the Falcons. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the man to receive the kickoff for the Wolverines. He had 2 fumbles last week and was benched, but how about trusting to put him back in? Peoples-Jones at his 25 is going to call for a fair catch, and he catches it safely at the 25. His first fair catch on the season.
That is excellent to see. That was a big reason why Peoples-Jones was benched last week, is he just refused to fair catch the ball. He did a great job right there. I don't know what his problem was last week, if he just didn't fully trust himself to catch the ball cleanly right out of the air, but obviously must have worked on it in practice this week. Fielded that very easily.
And now Michigan will have a chance to begin their 2nd drive of the game. The first drive led the Michigan Wolverines into the Air Force Falcons red zone and resulted in a field goal. Michigan leads 3-0 with 8:04 left to go in the first quarter. Wilton Spate so far 2 for 5, throwing with 13 yards, and the 13 yards is enough to pass Jake Rudock on the Michigan's all-time passing yards list. Rudock was 12, Spate was 13, and now Spate enters at number 12. So big accomplishment there for Wilton Spate, but still a long season ahead and a lot more accolades for him.
Yeah, Spate obviously gets a lot of criticism. You know, he's had his struggles, you know, especially last year in the Ohio State game. I guess we don't really need to get into that, but he is, all in all, a good quarterback. He, you know, does a lot of good things with this Michigan offense. You know, I think we really do take him for granted just a little bit.
Yeah, Spate 2 for 5 still has those 3 incompletions that were overthrows to Grant Perry. That was kind of something that
real problem is when he's throwing short, intermediate passes that sail over receivers' heads, like what really happened there in the Florida game with the 2 pick sixes. You know, deep balls, you're not always going to hit them. It's those inside, those short throws that he needs to hit consistently.
The Michigan offense takes the field for their second drive of the game.
Alright, I'm going to try something. It might totally not work.
Spate in the shotgun with Ty Isaac to his right, 3 receivers to his right, and Tariq Black, the lone receiver, to Spate's left. Spate takes the snap, looks downfield to pass, and he throws it, checks it down to Ty Isaac, who's tackled and pushed out of bounds by Jack Floor, but that's going to be a gain of 7 yards.
Yeah, Air Force's pass defense is not their strong suit. You know, I would expect Michigan's receivers to get by them to make some big plays, but they did an excellent job right there. That check down was really all Spate could do. You know, it was a smart decision, though, sets Michigan up for an easy second down.
Michigan now lined up with 2 fullbacks. And Sean McCune's going to motion out of the fullback to the tight end position. Spate hands it off to Isaac. Isaac barrels ahead for a gain of 3 yards, and he's going to be very close to the marker, but I think he'll be just short to bring up third down.
Yeah, good play call there. You know, take the first down. You know, a lot of teams will go on second and short and try to take a deep shot there, but, you know, they set him up for an even shorter third down. You know, 3rd and 2 isn't always a given. You know, taking risks really isn't the best move when you're this deep in your own territory.
So Michigan now facing a 3rd and 1. 10 to go on the play clock. Spate winds up under center in the I formation. Khalid Hill and Ty Isaac, the man behind him. Handoff is to Isaac. He runs straight forward. He's met right at the line of scrimmage, but it's going to be enough for a Michigan first down.
Yeah, another going with the big goal line looking package there was Michigan, able to easily get that first down. You know, I think Michigan is probably going to stick to the ground game here, try and march it down the field against this Air Force defense.
And Chris Evans, the sophomore from Indianapolis, checks into the game. He's going to be the lone tailback. And Spate has trips left to his left. Handoff is to Evans. Evans has a hole. He rushes forward. He fumbles the ball. And it's going to be recovered by Bullard of the Air Force Falcons. And the refs are saying it's going to be Air Force ball. So a costly turnover on the second drive by Evans.
We'll have to see the replay. It looks like his knee might have been down. Oh, I don't know. That looks like a fumble.
And a fumble early in the first quarter for Michigan, not what Harbaugh wants to expect. And Robert Bullard, the junior from Covington, Georgia, on the recovery. And it looks like Evans' elbow might have been down, and I think the refs will take a closer look at this.
Yeah, it looked like he had a knee and an elbow down. The only thing, it's hard to tell if the ball was on its way out. It definitely wasn't out completely before his knee hit the ground. Looks like Air Force is going to come right out and try to run a play before a review can happen.
Air Force lined up in the flex bone, Worthman under center. Worthman keeps it himself. It's going to be a speed option, and he's tackled right at the line of scrimmage by Josh Metellus. But looks like the play got off, and the refs won't be reviewing it as Air Force begins their drive in Michigan territory.
Yeah, really surprised Jim Harbaugh did not elect to take a timeout there, force a replay to happen. But interestingly, though, Air Force still, they have not really been doing the triple option, the inside veer, as they call it, you know, another speed option. Interesting play calls from them so far.
Worthman again in the flex bone. He's going to keep it himself, same play, fakes the pitch outside, and he's going to be tackled by Devin Bush at the Michigan 38.
Again, another speed option. They wanted to go outside all the way there. There was no fake to the fullback. You know, can tell that they're definitely scared of this Michigan front. They do not want to go inside into the teeth of this defense.
Brings up a third down and 3. Definitely something manageable for the Falcons, and Don Brown will have his men up to the test, stopping this triple option. Worthman lines up again in that iconic flex bone.
It's interesting, Michigan going with a lot of 3-man front so far.
And he's going to give it to that inside veer. It's going to be McVay, but it's going to be stuffed at the Michigan 35-yard line, and he's going to be just short of the first down.
And that's exactly why they don't want to go inside. Mo Hurst had that play stopped from the very beginning. They were just not able to push him back at all.
And the handoff was actually to Parker Wilson, the 5'11 junior from Coppell, Texas. But regardless, it was short, and this is going to be a 4th and 1. Air Force is going to keep its offense out on the field, and the Michigan crowd rising to its feet. Workman in the flex zone again, communicating with his players. He takes the snap, runs right, makes the pitch, and he's going to be tackled by Josh Metellus short of a first down, and Michigan will get the ball back with the turnover on downs.
We'll see, the spot looks pretty close to a first down.
It looks very close, and
they're probably going to bring out the chains there.
Michigan's defense is staying out on the field, so it looks like maybe the Falcons do have a chance to keep their drive alive.
Yeah, interesting. Their Air Force with no wideouts going too tight in the flex bone there. Michigan still going with the 3-down lineman.
And upon further review, after bringing the chains out, it does look like Air Force has had just enough for a first down. So the Falcons will keep their offense out on the field, and the Wolverines will keep their defense out on the field.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Michigan. So far, two really close calls. You know, just a mere matter of inches taking away that touchdown by Isaac, and now the first down for Air Force deep in Michigan territory.
And Ari Solomon, the true freshman from Leesburg, Georgia, is in at the game at nose tackle right now. And looks like there's going to be a timeout. Michigan elects to call a timeout. Its first timeout of the game. Michigan continues to lead 3-0 with 4:02 left to go in the first quarter. Air Force currently driving, and they're on the Michigan 34-yard line. So what thoughts have you seen from this Air Force drive after the Chris Evans tournament?
Well, I'm surprised that they have not been running the classic inside veer triple option. You know, they're doing a whole lot of speed option, trying to get outside, but Michigan is just not allowing them to get outside. I don't believe that Worthman has had a chance to pitch it outside at all yet this game. He has kept the ball on every opportunity. You know, Michigan's taking away the pitch man. They do not want to give them the outside edge. You know, that's a good call. Keep it in the quarterback's hands. You know, make sure he's the one taking all the hits, keeping them inside. You can't let big plays happen. Big plays happen when they pitch it.
And currently, following the timeout, Jim Harbaugh has challenged the spot on the ball. And to me, when I saw the play live, it looked like he was short, but the refs placed it just where a tip of the nose, probably an inch of the football, was ahead of that first down marker.
See, I'm never really sure on these reviews because spotting the ball is really a tough job and kind of subjective, you know, and there's no real way to say where exactly the ball was. Be interesting to see what they say here.
And the play will stand, so Air Force gets the first down, and Jim Harbaugh loses his first challenge.
Yeah, in a situation like that, it's really just watching the replay. How can you decide if it was 1 or 2 inches back from where you originally thought? You know, and then again, there's the challenge of finding inconclusive evidence. It's just incredibly rare to see a call like that overturned. Interesting that Harbaugh even decided to challenge that, but not the fumble, which looked like it might have gone in Michigan's favor there.
Regardless, Michigan loses the challenge, and Air Force gets to keep its offense out on the field at the 34-yard line. Worthman lines up in the flex bone. No receivers on either side. Runs right again. He's not going to pitch it. He's going to keep it, and he's tripped up by Khaleke Hudson at about the 30-yard line.
Strange, Michigan still with no receivers on the field. They're so respecting the pass. They had 3 guys 10 yards deep. Must have been thinking they were going to see a throw there. I'm surprised they didn't have more guys up on the line. But that's what happens when you keep that many guys back. They're going to get good 7-yard gains.
Air Force has 2nd and 3 now. Worthman runs right again. He's going to keep it again, and he's tackled by Josh Metellus and Devin Bush, but he surges ahead for just enough for another Falcons first down.
And again, Michigan with 3 guys about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. You know, I would expect them to start bringing someone up, cheat a little more, but as soon as you start cheating, they will try and take a shot over the top. You know, that's a chance I'm willing to take. Michigan is excellent in coverage, you know, especially their safeties. I think they can limit them from getting any big plays.
Worthman in the flex bone now. One receiver to his right, and the tight end's flexed out to his left. He's going to pitch it to McVay on a reverse. McVay has some space on a blocker. He breaks Metellus' tackle, but he's chased down by Chase Winovich. And it's another first down, and it looks like there's going to be a flag on the play. Not sure what it was. Possibly a face mask. But the play did result in a first down for Air Force.
Yeah, completely took Michigan off guard there. We're not expecting that reverse. And that's, McVay is Air Force's big play guy. He is very dangerous in open space. It was very scary to see him. I'm surprised he didn't manage to get it into the end zone there.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 74.
And there's going to be an unsportsmanlike penalty on Air Force, on James Rash, the right tackle, the senior from San Antonio, Texas. One of Air Force's leaders on that offensive line, not showing his poise and causing Air Force a 15-yard penalty. After a big first down for the Falcons, so this penalty backs them up to the 22-yard line. Excuse me, it was Griffin Landrum who was called for the penalty. Correction there. But Air Force begins its drive from the 22-yard line now. It's going to be 1st and 10. Worthman checks the sideline. This time only one flex back and 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. He checks with McVay, his running back lined up behind him. Takes a snap, hands it off to McVay. Excuse me, it's a fake to the speed option to the right, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds by Devin Bush and Levert Hill, and there's another flag on the play.
Looks like it's going to be a late hit on Devin Bush, out of bounds there.
Okay.
A lot of penalties here in this series. And it's a face mask penalty on Devin Bush. So after the big Air Force penalty, Michigan commits one of its own, and Air Force now, following the penalty, has the ball on the Michigan 6-yard line. 6.5-yard line, that is. And Air Force right now is knocking on the doorstep of getting 6 here on Michigan's defense.
Yeah, Michigan's been able to contain them so far because they have not allowed them to pitch it and get outside. Right now, 2 big plays in a row there for Air Force, getting the ball outside to McVay on the pitch.
2 receivers to Worthman's left, 1 to his right. He's lining up under center with McVay in the backfield. Hands off fakes it, pitches right to McVay, and he's tackled by Levert Hill on the sideline. Great solo tackle by Levert Hill, the sophomore.
Yeah, and great play by Winovich there. He sat back. I'm surprised that Worthman did not give the ball on the fullback dive, but Winovich sat back, made Worthman make a decision there. He went outside, made the wrong call.
2nd and 6, 2nd and goal from the 6-yard line. Worthman now in the flex bone, 2 receivers, 1 each. Pitches left to McVay. McVay has some room on the sideline, but Michigan quickly pursues it down. It's going to be a game tackle for a loss.
Yeah, and great work. Metellus was not in on that tackle, but he really set the edge there, got on the outside of the wide receiver trying to block him and forced the running back to come back inside, where he was met by just a whole host of Wolverines.
And it's going to be a 3rd and goal now following the loss. Air Force now backed up to its 7-yard line. Crowd on its feet. Workman in the flex bone with one receiver to his left. He's going to drop back and pass. Nothing there. He has some time, though. He's rolling out to his right. Still looking. Chase. And he's going to be sacked by Devin Bush at the 21-yard line.
Wow, the speed of Devin Bush right there really making a difference. Worthman is an elusive runner. You know, we thought he would have been able to stay alive back there for a little longer, but Bush closed in on him in a hurry. I'm surprised he wasn't able to strip it from him. Brought the right hand down right on the ball. That was an excellent play.
And that was a big tackle for loss by Devin Bush. Brings Air Force back to the 20-yard line and is going to attempt a 37-yard field goal. The kick is good. Kick is up, and it's good. And Air Force ties up the game at 3 apiece, and we have 2 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yeah, I would expect Strebel there. He's an excellent kicker. He has only missed 4 kicks in his entire collegiate career. Very steady, reliable. You know, anytime Air Force is that close, it's going to be an easy 3 points.
And Strebel, the senior from Nashville, Tennessee, kicks it through the uprights to give us a tie ball game here in Ann Arbor with, again, just 2 seconds left to play in the first quarter. So as this first quarter comes to its close, what sort of things have you seen in today's game so far?
Well, I'm surprised Air Force has not tried to pass more often. Obviously, that was their first pass attempt there. They got nothing out of it, you know, but that's because Michigan has been playing with 3 guys pretty deep there, almost in a safety position. You know, a little unusual against a team that is this run heavy, but it's been working out mostly. You know, I'm surprised they haven't really ran the true triple option with the inside veer all that much. You know, electing to go with the speed options, just rushing to the outside, trying to get to the edge. You know, Michigan's doing a good job of taking away the pitch, forcing Worthman to come back inside, you know, where the majority of the defense is, you know, and really not allowing any big plays, because that's one thing Air Force is very good at, is getting chunk plays. Maybe not huge gainers, but 15-yarders here and there. That just really hasn't been happening for them so far.
Yeah, Michigan's defense has been pretty stout so far, and despite Air Force having a short field following the Chris Evans fumble, Michigan's defense only ceded about 20, maybe 25 yards to give up that field goal. So far Michigan's defense has been hanging in. And on the day so far, Air Force has 42 yards rushing. So I think it's safe to say that Michigan's defense has been holding up pretty well so far.
Yeah, and this is something we've seen, you know, all year so far, is Michigan's offense putting this defense in some pretty awkward positions, making it a little tough on them, but the defense just always is able to answer and hold up. And, you know, just they're an excellent group, and they just keep coming through for Michigan.
And now Wilton Spate will get another chance to get the Michigan offense going. It seemed like they had a promising drive going at the start, and Chris Evans abruptly fumbled it to give Air Force that short yard that I mentioned earlier. What do you think Jim Harbaugh has to say to Chris Evans? Because I know that running backs in the past with fumbling problems have got sort of in Harbaugh's doghouse for a while.
Yeah, and especially Evans, who already kind of appears to be in the doghouse with Harbaugh, you know, was the one given the start in the Florida game, and then instead Isaac got the start last week against Cincinnati. He got the start here again. Evans really hasn't been getting a whole lot of touches. That is obviously not going to help his case, especially with how well Isaac's been doing running the ball, you know, nearly getting the touchdown there on that first drive. He's just an explosive player.
And the kick is going to Crawford, and he'll return it for his first time of the season, and he's tackled at the 15-yard line.
You know, I don't know how many times it's got to happen before these returners realize, always kneel the ball when you catch it in the end zone. You are never going to get it back out to the 25. You know, it's tempting. You get the ball, you think you're Devin Hester, you're going to take it all the way back to the house. Normally you can't even get it back to the 20. It's tough. You know, all those guys flying down the field. Returning kicks is not an easy task. You know, take the easy and free yards every time.
Yeah, Crawford, he caught it right near the goal line, so I think maybe he was thinking he had a chance, but
great job by the Air Force special teams unit to sort of mitigate his run and get him down by the 15. So, yeah, again, we'll see who will get the carries. It's been Ty Isaac, the starter for the past 2 games, and there's quite a significant possibility that Evans' fumble has pushed him further down the depth chart, but it's hard to know with Harbaugh. He keeps things very secretive behind closed doors, especially with his running backs. But what do you think Michigan has to do on this drive to extend this lead? Because right now, after 1 quarter of football, it's 3-3. Air Force is literally staying in this game.
Well, I would like to see them kind of switch up what they do in formation. So far it's been, if they're under center, they're running the ball. If they're in the shotgun, they're passing the ball. And they haven't really mixed, you know, those formations up. I would like to see them, you know, maybe come out, run the ball, and then go under center, try a play action maybe. You know, under center has been run, run, run. You know, it's getting a little predictable. Air Force is just, you know, it's almost like they know the play call before the ball is even snapped. You know, I'd like to see a little bit more variety. But, you know, Michigan's done a very good job running the ball so far. Isaac has been excellent, you know, had the big run. I'd like to see them keep pounding the ball, going inside, in between the tackles. That's where they've had success. And coming out with those big 2 tight end, 2 fullback sets, you know, that's really where Michigan's been having a lot of success today. And
so far, Michigan has 8 carries for 57 yards, mostly as a result of Ty Isaac's big run. And that was something you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, is how Air Force's defense is hyper-aggressive, and they focus a lot of attention on stopping the run. And so far, besides that big run by Isaac, that they've been doing it pretty well so far. So it'll be interesting to see if Michigan's going to continue with the run, which you think that might be a good idea, or if they're going to continue with the pass.
Yeah, and when a defense is that aggressive, they're vulnerable to big plays in both the run game and the passing game. Obviously, passing has not been Michigan's strong suit so far this year. You know, Spate's tried to take some deep shots down the field, hasn't been successful so far. You know, I'd like to see Michigan run it, because when the defense blitzes like that, you get what Isaac got there on that first drive. You can just get by that initial defense. You can get a big play. There's a lot of room up in the secondary.
And Spate tosses to Isaac. Isaac has some room, and he's hit hard by Jack Floor at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, just nothing going there. You know, the quick pitch to the outside is not really one of Michigan's better plays. I'd like to see them, if they do run the ball some more here, go in between the tackles. That's where they've had success.
Gain of 1 by Isaac. Bring up to 2nd and 9. Spate's going to line up in the shotgun now with 2 receivers to his right and 2 to his left. Isaac the lone back to his right. Zach Gentry goes in motion across the formation. Spate, quick throw to Donovan Peoples-Jones, who has some room ahead of him. He's going, he breaks the tackle, he's at the 40, and he's pushed out of bounds by Marquise Griffin. And that was a big play by the true freshman from Cass Tech, Detroit, Michigan. And he puts Michigan into Air Force territory.
Now, I wonder if that was the called play or if that's something they switched to at the line, because it looked like Air Force was a little bit confused. The D tackles were kind of jumping around, switching spots. I don't know what happened there. Some miscommunication from the Air Force defense. Michigan was able to take advantage there.
Michigan now at the Air Force 47-yard line. Spate takes a snap. Quick throw to Tariq Black on the sideline, and he's tackled by a host of Air Force Falcons led by Brett Baldwin. And Jamel Sanders also there helping out on the play.
Yeah, that's something good to see from Spate here. You know, these last 2 throws, very easy, but he's put them right on the money, right up in the chest of both Tariq Black and Peoples-Jones. You know, that's what you need on those short, quick routes. Keep the defense on their heels, not to let them pressure you so much.
And Black's reception leads to a 2nd and 2. Poggi and Karan Higdon in the I formation behind Spate. Spate takes a snap. Play action, looking deep. Had a man in his face, but he has Zach Gentry going across the sideline. He's at the 20-yard line, and he's going to be pushed out by Jamel Sanders and Grant Ross.
Now that's a play we saw a ton last year, a route Jake Butt ran a lot with going play action, everyone going to the right side. The tight end goes left. No one really notices him. Spate put the ball right on the money, let it out to him, let him make a good run after the catch with pressure in his face. That's a big-time throw, something we've been waiting to see out of Spate for all this year.
So it seems like Spate has fixed some of the jitters from the first drive as Michigan now at the 9-yard line. Spate takes a shotgun snap, picks the handoff, looks to the end zone. He has his man, and it's going to be overthrown to Kakao Crawford. So just as I say that he's fixed his overthrows problem, he throws the ball over Crawford's head in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, interesting that Michigan on a 1st and goal comes out in a shotgun formation, passing all the way. Really surprised to not see them run the ball there. But, you know, after Spate's had 3 good throws like that, probably wanted to keep the momentum going, give him some more confidence. But, you know, that was a risk there. Sets up a long 2nd and goal here.
And Air Force brought the blitz on that last play, so Spate had some pressure in his face. It's going to be a reverse to McDoom, who's tripped up near the line of scrimmage, and the play was going to be made by Garrett Coppola.
You know, Coppola made a great play right there. If McDoom gets by him, that's 6 points easily. Was able to just trip him up by the shoestrings there, lunging out. Excellent play.
The great play by Garrett Capula, the 6'2", 200-pound junior from Rockland, California, is going to bring up a 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line. Spate in the shotgun, 2 receivers to his left and 2 to his right. Ty Isaac, the running back, to his right. Spate takes a snap, rolls out of pressure. He has some space ahead of him. He's going to keep it himself. No, he's not. He's going to try to throw it to Crawford, but the play was broken up by Marquise Griffin, and a great play there by the senior from Stockbridge, Georgia, to bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, now, Spate obviously a little panicked right there. Air Force sent a lot of guys on the blitz there. You know, he had to get out of the pocket right away, going to the left. It's always an awkward position. You know, had the defensive player coming right up into his face, thought he could flip it over him, but just a great play to get his hands up in the air. You know, would have liked to see Spate maybe try and just keep it and get by him, but...
And the field goal attempt by Quinn Nordine is good. It was basically a chip shot, but the kick brings the lead to 6-3. So Michigan extends the lead and now has the lead with 11:48 left to go in the 2nd quarter.
And, you know, I've really been impressed. That was a good stand there by the Air Force defense there down on the goal line. You know, they only have 1 returning starter. That's number 44, Grant Ross, the middle linebacker. But, you know, this is definitely not an inexperienced defense. A lot of juniors and seniors. I think actually all juniors and seniors. You know, so maybe not a whole lot of starting experience, but experience nonetheless. And they've done an excellent job so far of stopping this Michigan offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned that discipline at the beginning of the broadcast. Most of Air Force's starting unit are upperclassmen, either juniors or seniors. And in contrast, Michigan is starting a lot of freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores. So I think the experience battle definitely goes in Air Force's favor. And right now we're pretty well into this game, about 1 quarter and a third perhaps, and Air Force is still like hanging in it. And it looked like Michigan had a very promising drive and it stalled out. Like you said, to Air Force's credit, great goal line stand by the Falcons, but we'll see how this game goes on. And Air Force will have a chance to answer. What do you think we'll see here on their ensuing drive?
You know, I'm not really sure what to make of Air Force so far in offense. They've been kind of mixing it up, not normally what I would expect out of them. Not a lot of inside veer, you know, the triple option, going more for the speed option, trying to get outside. They're definitely afraid of the Michigan defense, it seems like, trying to get a little tricky, mixing it up, but it's, you know, nothing's working out too great for them. If it weren't for the 1 turnover, this defense really has had their number.
And that's sort of a theme that I think that we've seen so far in the season, is the defense is oftentimes having to defend short fields due to whatever reason, mostly Michigan offensive turnovers. And I think that they've done a good job of holding their ground despite these predicaments the offense puts them in. But right now, pending the kickoff, Air Force will have a long field to go, and if this trend continues, like you pointed out, that Michigan's defense should be able to keep a stand. But we'll see how Air Force adjusted. We'll see how Air Force will adjust.
Yeah, maybe we'll see him come out and try to pass the ball more, take the top off the defense, but I don't know. It's something they have not tried very much of.
James Fogue set to kick it off. It's a high booming kick. It's going to be returned by McVeigh. Oh, excuse me, it's not going to be returned by McVeigh, and he's going to let it harmlessly bounce in the end zone for an Air Force touchback.
Yeah, smart decision there by McVeigh. You know, interesting, something we haven't talked about is Air Force putting McVeigh, one of their star offensive players, back there to return kicks, something that's always risky, and I'm always surprised to see teams do it, you know, kind of like Penn State does with Saquon Barkley. You know, surprised that they put such a player they really depend on in that kind of compromising position.
Yeah, Michigan has Kiko Crawford, their #1 receiver, returning kicks, and Jordan Lewis from last year, their superstar cornerback, had returning kicks. So, it is an interesting thing that I usually don't see very much, but both Michigan and Air Force doing that, especially Air Force with McVeigh, their best offensive player. But you mentioned that you would like to see Air Force try to air the ball out a little more, and so far they've had no passing attempts. They only tried once, but the quarterback Worthman was sacked, so he's currently 0 for 0 on the day. And what if they were to open up the passing game, how would you see this playing out?
Well, Michigan's had 3 deep, and normally when Air Force tries to throw the ball, they go 4 verts, try and go all out, get a one-on-one matchup. Normally one of the A-backs, you know, guys on the wing there, matched up with a linebacker in one-on-one man coverage, and, you know, they probably just aren't going to get any opportunities like that. There are just at least 2 guys back there playing over-the-top coverage every time. Michigan definitely is just not going to let that happen. We'll see if they are, you know, feel like taking some risks, maybe trying to throw into some tight coverage, but that's really not what Air Force wants to do. You know, they've got to set that up with the run game. They just have not been successful enough with the run to, you know, garner that kind of respect.
Yeah, so far their running game has been this: 15 attempts for 42 yards. Tim McVeigh is their leading rusher with 4 attempts for 23 yards. Worthman coming in at second with 8 attempts and 9 yards. But we'll see how this plays out, and we'll see if anything you mentioned happens. But right now, Air Force lined up at the 25-yard line. Worthman in the flex bone. He's going to keep it right, and he's going to keep it himself, and he's hit hard by Mike McCray. But Worthman's rush is going to be a gain of 6 yards to bring up a 2nd and 4.
Yeah, again, going with the speed option, not testing the interior line of Michigan, and again, taking away the pitch back. I think that's just going to be what Michigan does every time here. Slow, just kind of backing away from Worthman when he comes across the edge there, kind of forcing him to keep the ball every time.
Worthman's going to keep it again, same exact play, and he has a crease, and he's going down the sideline at the 40-yard line. He's eventually pushed out of bounds by Devin Bush. Big run by Arian Worthman.
You know, he is an excellent player. He can make those kinds of plays, and that is part of the risk you take. It looked like, again, kind of taking away the pitch man, and that's what'll happen, you know, when you're playing the guy who doesn't have the ball. The guy who has the ball is going to make some plays.
And the big run there by the 5'11", 205-pound junior from Normal, Illinois. And that's going to bring the Air Force Falcons into Michigan territory at their 35-yard line. Worthman again in the flex bone with 2 tight ends to either side. No receivers in the formation. And he's going to give it ahead to the fullback veer. That's Parker Wilson, who's stuffed at the line.
Parker Wilson was the ball carrier.
Looks like Winovich was there at the bottom of the pile with him. Interesting now, Michigan has gone, well, Monet was in on that play, had the 4-man front. They're taking him back out now, going again with the 3-man front.
Michigan changing up their fronts throughout the game, with Monet coming off the field. That takes them from a 4-3-5 to a 3-3, or 4-4-3 to a 3-3-5. Worthman takes a snap. He's going to run right. Nothing there, and Winovich breaks through and tackles him for a loss.
Just a great play by Winovich. That's what you want to do as a defensive end. When the offensive tackle is on you,
You want to keep your arms locked out straight like that so you can throw the offensive tackle either way. It looked like Worthman was kind of trying to read where the tackle was taking Winovich. He wasn't taking him anywhere. Winovich had him from the start there.
And Winovich was going against Griffin Landrum, the 6'2 junior, who had that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And Winovich had a nice move to get by him. That big play by Winovich brings up a 39 for the Falcons. Worthman now lined up with Parker Wilson behind him and McVeigh to his right. And looks like there's going to be a dead ball foul, perhaps a false start. Excuse me, it's going to be a timeout by Calhoun and of the Air Force Falcons. And looks like they're going to want to mull this over. I think the play clock was running down.
Interesting to see there, though. Air Force did snap the ball and kind of went through the motions of what they were doing there. Looks like they had drawn up a midline option there. That is a little different from the typical triple option, the inside veer. The inside veer, the fullback attacks the offensive tackle, kind of looking to go into the C gap. That's 3 gaps outside of the center. Right there, the fullback goes straight ahead in the midline, tries to go right up behind the center, and then the quarterback can choose whether to give it right up the middle or take it and go over the tackle himself. We have not seen that from them so far. That's normally a big play. You know, the offense sees the fullback, you know, possibly getting the ball right up the middle. Everyone crashes in, and then the quarterback, Worthman there, can leak out, kind of like he did on that last speed option. He can make big plays if they give him the opportunity, and he's shown it.
Yeah, and on that play, we saw the first formation of the drive with receivers on the field. Do you think that perhaps they were looking at a play action and trying to open it up given the formation?
It's possible. The last time I think they went with the 3 wide receiver set was the last drive, and they did run the inside veer there, got the ball out to McVeigh, and got a pretty big play out of it, kind of trying to spread Michigan's defense out and then run the ball. You know, I would expect that's probably what they were trying to do there again, trying to spread the defense out and then attack the middle. But you never know. You know, I would think on a play action they would have probably tried to fake a veer instead of the midline, a play that they haven't ran up and set up at all so far this game.
Yeah, and again, still Arian Worthman with no attempts. He had the big rushing game, and it seems like Air Force has been able to get that chunk yardage on the ground, but you think that in this huddle that they're talking about potentially opening it up to a pass, and we've still only seen one passing attempt. Excuse me, we've only seen them try to pass it once, but still no attempt from Worthman. In a 3rd and 9 situation, you got to think they're looking to pass here.
That's true. It is an obvious passing situation, but we'll see how the Michigan defense comes out here. If they come out, they have 3 guys back at about 10-yard depth. We'll see what they do, but I can't imagine Michigan's going to let them pass the ball here and have any kind of success.
Yeah, and you mentioned 3rd and 9 is usually an obvious passing down, but this is not a normal team in the Air Force Falcons in their flex bone and triple option, and it's just obviously very run heavy, as we've seen 19 rushes and only 1 attempt to pass the ball. The players take the field. It looks like Michigan will line up in the 3-3-5 no Monet, no nose tackle out there. Air Force in the flex bone. They do have a receiver, that's Sanders, in the formation, but he's lined up tight, almost as a tight end.
Michigan has 2 guys back, 10 yards off the line. Oh, looks like we've got an offsides.
And it looked like Malik Miller, who was lined up as the A-back, flinched. And that's going to push Air Force back even further. Costly mistake there by the junior from Griffin, Georgia.
Yeah, interesting to see Air Force come out in that tight, almost goal line looking set. That's more what I would expect them to pass off of. Make Michigan suck in, think it's going to be a run, and then, you know, kind of surprise them with the pass. But now there's no way they can't pass the ball 3rd and this long.
Air Force lines up in a similar formation, the flex bone with 1 receiver packed in tightly. It's going to be a run. Worthman's going to keep it himself, run to the left, and he's hit hard by Devin Bush at about the 35-yard line. It was a gain of 4, but not nearly enough for a first down, and that's going to be a 4th down by the Air Force for the Air Force Falcons. And Luke Strebel is going to come out to punt the ball away.
You know, that was probably the best decision for Air Force right there. They're bringing in Strebel to kick it now.
Yeah.
You know, take the easy yards, make the kick just a little bit easier for Strebel.
This will be a 51-yard field goal, though, but Strebel is an experienced kicker. The kick is up, and it's good. It just grazed the upright by the right side. The fans are reacting to it, but it looks like the field goal was good.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like they're just waving at the camera. Never mind.
Oh. Yeah, running the ball there, getting the yards, setting them up for a field goal was really a smart play. Did not even really consider that prior to the snap. You know, passing the ball was probably just not in the cards altogether for the Air Force Falcons, especially with an excellent kicker like Strebel. You gotta play for the field goal in that situation.
But on that drive, Arian Worthman, a big drive for him on the ground. He now is leading all the Air Force Falcons running backs with 12 attempts and 55 yards. And that was enough to get Air Force, you know, in field goal range. And now it's 6-6. The game is tied. And this was a game that Michigan was projected to win by a lot. But here we are, 8:37 to go in the second quarter, and the game is tied as Michigan is getting set to receive this kickoff.
You know, and it's been no fault of the defense so far. Really, if there was not the fumble, this defense is really only responsible for 3 points up on the board. Really, it comes down to the Michigan offense not making plays.
And Air Force kicker squib kicks it. It's going to be Brad Hawkins, the true freshman, who returns it. He's going to juke around for a bit before being tackled at the 30-yard line. It looks like there's going to be a late hit penalty on the Falcons as a flag came in well after the tackle was made.
Now, I'm not sure if that's on the Falcons or on Michigan there. It looked like number 42. Is that Jacob McCurry or Ben Mason?
Probably Ben Mason, the true freshman.
He came in while most guys were on the ground there. He came flying in. Looked like maybe he was trying to push the pile forward for a few extra yards, but I don't think the ref saw it that way.
Well, regardless, it's going to probably be a late hit penalty. And Nate was right. That is Ben Mason, the true freshman from Newtown, Connecticut. And after what seemed like what would start out as favorable field position as a result of the squib kick is now negated because of Mason's unsportsmanlike penalty.
Yeah, that's just a boneheaded play right there. The play was obviously dead. Everyone's on the ground in a pile. He just goes jumping on top for no apparent reason that I can see. Just a bad play.
So now Michigan will be fighting an uphill battle, starting this drive at the 16-yard line. Fakes the reverse and hands it off to Isaac, who's tackled right at the line of scrimmage.
Now that's a play Michigan has got to win. Running the ball on first down has got to be a plus play. Only getting 1 or 2 yards on first down just puts this offense in an unfavorable position. That's just something they cannot afford this deep in their own territory.
So gain of 1 yard brings up a 2nd and 9. Spate lines up in the shotgun with Ty Isaac, the lone running back, to his right. 3 receivers to his right, and Tariq Black, the lone receiver, to his left. Spate hands it off again to Isaac. Isaac has room to his right, breaks a tackle, and he's still going at the 30-yard line. He's going to be eventually brought down. But a big gain by Isaac on 2nd down to move the chains for the Wolverines.
Yeah, good deception there by the Michigan offense, spreading out, going with the spread formation there. They had Air Force spread out across the field. They even had 2 safeties back deep, which is just not something they normally do. Normally only going with 1 safety playing deep coverage. Was able to take advantage and go right up the middle.
Spate lines up in under center with the I formation. It's going to be handed off to Karan Higdon now, who barrels forward and spins ahead for a gain of 3 yards.
Yeah, now you're seeing kind of the after effects of the Chris Evans fumble. That's normally a carry you would see Evans get there. Instead, it's Higdon. You know, probably not going to see much of Evans for the rest of this game. We'll see maybe after halftime Harbaugh gives him a little pep talk or something and brings him back out on the field. We'll see.
2nd and 7 now for Michigan. Spate in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his right. Higdon's still in the game. Higdon's going to get the ball. He's going to run forward. He had some room, but he was tripped up there by Shaquille Vereen.
Yeah, great play there by Vereen. If Higdon gets by him there, that's going to be a big play. was able to just get him. Still able to fall forward for a good gain, though was Higdon. Sets Michigan up for the easy 3rd and 1. Would like to see him go right up the middle here, maybe even give it to Khalid Hill on the fullback dive.
And Hill is in the game in the I formation, and Isaac got the I. Isaac gets the ball, has some room, but no, he's met by Coppola, who broke through the Michigan line and tackles Isaac for a loss to bring up a 4th down.
Well, now there wasn't really a hole there for Isaac to go through, but you know, in that situation on 3rd and 1, you just gotta kind of make a hole, go straight up and down the field. He tried to go east and west there, bounce it outside. You just can't do that on 3rd and 1, especially with a big guy like Khalid Hill in front of you. Just put a hand on his back and keep pushing forward. You gotta go up and down in that situation. And
Isaac failed to listen to Nate's advice, so that's a 4th down, and Will Hart is set to punt it away for Michigan, and it's going to be fair caught safely by Ronald Cleveland of the Falcons at about the 17-yard line.
Yeah, good to see Hart there with a nice punt. Had a couple of short punts last week. You know, looks like it hasn't got to his head. Good work right there. Putting Air Force back deep, setting up this Michigan defense, hopefully for a good stop here.
Michigan's defense will take the field, and like Nate mentioned, has been pretty stout thus far, only yielding 6 points, but really only 3 of them were Michigan's defense's fault, because the first field goal was after the Chris Evans fumble, and Michigan's defense has outscored its opponents in both of their first games, if you're counting the safety they got against Cincinnati, and they also got a touchdown against Florida in their opener after the Malik Zaire fumble that was recovered in the end zone, and then 2 pick sixes and a safety, which I mentioned, against Cincinnati. So Michigan's defense has been doing a lot of scoring for Michigan, but so far Michigan's defense has not scored anything, and so far only given up 6 points, but only 3 to its fault. And I think that last drive was mostly put together by that big run by the Air Force quarterback Arian Worthman, the junior from Normal, Illinois. And do you think that Air Force has any tricks in their toolbox to get another big chunk yardage gain? And that seems like something that they've had success with to engineer their drives throughout their season.
Yeah, well, we'll see. They've been going to the speed option time and time again here, and Michigan has just decided to, you know, play outside, play the pitch man, turn Worthman up inside. Obviously, the one time there was able to get the big 34-yard gain. You know, it'll happen. I think Michigan will take that just as long as, you know, Tim McVeigh is not getting it outside, you know, going down the sideline, getting even bigger plays. And especially, you know, if Air Force is not going to try to give it to the fullback inside, they're gonna want to keep the ball in Worthman's hands, make sure he's the one taking all the hits, taking the punishment, maybe try and wear him down. But one thing also I'd like to see is Air Force is prone to put the ball on the ground. Any triple option team is, where you're pitching the ball that often with all the mesh points. You know, sometimes they just mess up and put the ball on the turf. Hopefully Michigan can force a turnover here.
Worthman keeps it right again. He's going to be chased down from behind by Mike McCray in the backfield. That's going to bring up a loss on first down in the first play of Air Force's drive.
Looked like Air Force tried to get a cut block there. That's something Air Force does a lot, is cutting guys on the line of scrimmage. McCray was able to just hop right over him and make a great play there. He was still kind of off balance as he made the tackle. Great balance and strength there to bring down Worthman.
McCray, the only returning starter on this Michigan defense, and their defensive captain with a good play there on first down. Brings up a 2nd and 11. Worthman under center. He's going to put McVeigh in motion. Worthman's going to drop back to pass. He doesn't have any room, and he's going to be swallowed up by Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, technically not a sack right there as he was able to cross the line of scrimmage, but, you know, passing play there, just nowhere to go. Again, 0 for 2 now is Air Force. McGarry, Winovich, Hurst, everyone was in the backfield there, just never had a chance.
Yeah, Gary, the number 1 recruit in 2016, had a lot of hype to him this year and makes his statement on that second down to bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Falcons. And Worthman's going to line up in the shotgun this time with 2 receivers to his left. Play clock is winding down, and Air Force looks like it's going to have to spend its second timeout.
Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot with Air Force, coming out in one formation, looking to the sideline, you know, switching it up, switching the formation. You know, really, this Michigan crowd is having a big impact in this game. They were all out of sorts there, didn't really know what to switch into. The crowd was loud, maybe kind of in their head there. You know, great work by the 110,000 here in attendance, 110,000 plus, I should say.
For their service and sacrifice. If you are a veteran,
Right now with 4:08 left to go in the second quarter. This is WCBN Sports Student Radio. The score is tied 6 apiece between the Air Force Academy Falcons and the home Michigan Wolverines. Right now, Air Force is forcing a 3rd and 8 at its own 18-yard line, and the way Michigan's defense has been playing, especially in these 3rd and long situations, you got to think that they're going to be able to come up with a stop here, force that 3 and out, and give Michigan about 4 minutes, maybe 3.5, for one more drive left in the half. And if this, we're going to assume this happens, and of course you can't assume anything in sports, but if this happens, what does Michigan have to do to get some points on the board and take a lead before we go into half here?
Well, especially with the clock winding down, they're going to go with the pass, got to assume, and Spate's just going to simply have to make some plays in the passing game. He had a couple of good passes earlier in the game, kind of set up that last field goal there, but he's just, it's been little short passes that he's been able to connect on. He is even going like intermediate passes, maybe 10 or 15 yards down the field, he has not been able to connect very well. He's got to make those types of throws to give this Michigan offense a chance to score a touchdown here.
And as I mentioned before, a lot of those Spate incompletions were, and even Spate mentioned this about himself, is that a lot of those incompletions that he had last week against Cincinnati were because he was throwing off balance, and he was throwing off balance because of the pressure that Cincinnati was bringing. And I think that's something we've seen. Those accurate passes that you mentioned that were good and right on the money were quick passes before Air Force's blitz had time to get to him. But I think a lot of the incompletions occurred when Spate had a little more time and there was more time for the blitz to get to him. And this is something that Spate still is continuing to work on. So what do you think he has to do to sort of get over this proverbial hump?
Yeah, I don't know what a quarterback can do. It's almost like he hears the footsteps in his head there, which I guess it's not even really just hearing them. He's had the pressure right in his face. It's tough to, you know, kind of stick with your coaching, with your training, and it's all about the footwork. You keep your feet steady, keep your balance, and he was able to make the big play there to the tight end with pressure in his face earlier. You know, I don't know what was different on that play. He has only been able to do it once, though. He's got to be able to stand tall, take the heat, take the hit, and make a big play.
And the crowd is on its feet as Air Force faces a 3rd and 8. Worthman in the shotgun. He's going to keep it himself, run straight up the middle, and he's tackled by a combination of Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich.
Yeah, I think Air Force was content to just run the ball there, keep some breathing room for the punter, you know, not try anything too risky. You know, try to keep Michigan, give the Michigan offense as, you know, worst field position as possible for this final drive.
And Donovan Peoples-Jones is set to return his second punt of the game. And on the previous punt, he had his first fair catch of the season. We'll see what happens here. It's a short kick, and Peoples-Jones is going to have to run up to it, and it's just going to fall harmlessly out of bounds at about midfield. Not really a good look for Air Force, as Michigan will have a chance to deal with a short field here to close out the half.
Well, looks like the ref is spotting it up on the Air Force 40-yard line. Great starting field position for Michigan. You know, maybe they're not going to have to take as many shots downfield as we were expecting. You know, there is still a lot of time on the board, 3 minutes, 22 seconds here. You know, maybe they will try to go to the ground, try and grind it out, score, and not leave any time for Air Force to come back and have a rebuttal.
So the short kick gives Michigan favorable field position now at the Air Force 40. Spate in the shotgun. Quick throw out to Eddie McDoom. McDoom catches it. He has some space on the sideline. And he's going to be swallowed up by a bunch of Air Force Falcons. A great pursuit by the Falcons to get out there, but it's going to end up to be about a 5-yard gain by Eddie McDoom.
Now, McDoom had some blocks on the outside there, had a little lane to go through, but the pass by Spate just a little low, kind of fumbled with it. If the ball was up a little higher, makes a cleaner catch, might have been able to get some more yards out of that one. But, you know, what do we got here? A penalty.
And it looks like Robert Bullard of the Air Force Falcons, their cornerback, is down injured on the play, so we're going to take a break from action. And correction, the Eddie McDoom play was actually a 9-yard gain. But yeah, Robert Bullard, the junior from Covington, Georgia, is receiving medical attention. He stood up pretty quickly and is walking off pretty easily under his own power, so we'll hope that he's okay.
Yeah, good to see that. Never like to see injuries on either side. But again, back to the Michigan offense there, that last play. Spate, you know, the pass wasn't awful, you know, just a little bit low. It really looked like he launched it though, like kind of almost, you know, no touch on that short of a pass. Maybe could have kind of let off a little bit, almost like a Brett Favre throw, trying to throw it through his receiver.
So Michigan lines up with 2 fullbacks this time, and McCune's going to go in motion to line up as a tight end. Spate hands it off to Evans, who Evans has a wide open room, and he's going to be chased down by Marquise Griffin, but it's going to be surely enough for a Michigan first down at the 25-yard line.
Actually, that was Isaac on the carry there, not Evans. Great counter play. I don't know if that was set up for him to go over to the right. Looked like it was set up to be over the left tackle there. Isaac just kind of read where the blocks were, had open space to the right, was able to gallop for a good gain.
Spate in the shotgun now, 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Looks to pass, has some room. Blitz is picked up well. He's being chased out of the pocket by the sideline. He's just going to run out about a 33-yard line, but that's going to be a loss of about 3 yards for Michigan there.
Looked like Perry Grant was open over there. Was it Ian Bunting on the out route?
And he was being chased out of bounds by Santo Coppola, the 6'4", 270 senior from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it wasn't really a gain of, it was a loss of about 1 yard, so not as dramatic as we initially thought, but it's going to bring up a 2nd and 11 for the Wolverines.
Well, now, I'm not 100% sure who it was on that out route, but he was wide open. That's a throw Spate's got to just pull the trigger on.
And Spate is going to be sacked by Santo Coppola again, and it looks like the ball is loose. And looks like Michigan recovered his, I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Nick Eubanks on the recovery, but a huge loss on that play. Definitely more than 1 yard. Looks like it's going to be a loss of about 10 to bring Michigan back to a 3rd and 21, and things are starting to look gloomy for Michigan after what looked like great starting field position.
Yeah, right now, as it stands, this would be a very tough field goal. I don't think Quinn Nordine has got that kind of range. They're probably just going to play to get into field goal position here, not even go for the first down line.
Yeah, and you're right. Spate's just going to hand it off to Ty Isaac, who breaks a few tackles, and he's going to get it up to about the 31-yard line for what looks to be a more manageable field position, but not really a good drive for Michigan, especially given their starting field position.
You know, and it all goes back to that first down play. Spate had a man open down the field, had a clean pocket, had time to throw, and he just didn't make the throw for whatever reason, just didn't trust himself, something. Instead, just runs out of a clean pocket, gets a loss, gets himself in a 2nd and long, where Air Force knows they have to pass the ball and they can dial up the blitz, and then that's when you get big losses like that on that sack.
And so Michigan's going to let the play clock run out and call a timeout to stop the clock with 9 seconds left to go in the first half. Likely just going to kick a field goal, but right now Michigan was heavily favored in this game, and it's still 6-6 and possibly 9-6. So I think there's a lot of unease going on here with the fans in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and again, it's not the ground game has been pretty solid so far for this offense. It has been just there's just been a complete inability by this Michigan offense to make plays through the air, and I don't know what they can do to change it. It's just it's becoming a glaring weakness for Michigan.
Yeah, and the ground game has been going well. So far, 82 yards on the day by all running backs. And Ty Isaac leading the way with 9 attempts and 61 yards. But Lone Spade with only 100 yards passing on the day. And right now, Quinn Nordin is set to kick a field goal. But Air Force is calling a timeout, probably to ice the kicker. Fans in Ann Arbor aren't happy with this, but still, I think a pretty strategic move by Calhoun.
Yeah, never really sure with icing the kicker how well that works. I mean, Michigan just called the timeout themselves. I mean, wouldn't think it really adds any more pressure to Nordin. He seems like a really cool, calm, and collected guy. He's able to make some really big kicks for the Michigan Wolverines against Florida there, especially. Was actually the first Michigan kicker, I believe, to have two 50-yard kicks in the same game. You know, this kid's really special. He should have a big 4 years here as the Michigan kicker.
Yeah, he is a redshirt freshman, one of the best kickers in his recruiting class, and he's the kid that Harbaugh stepped over to recruit. And so far, it seems like a worthwhile investment for Harbaugh as he's lining up here to kick about a 46-yard field goal. And it's high, it's up, and it splits the uprights for Michigan. And they take the lead again, extending it by 3 again. Michigan now leads 9-6 over the Air Force Academy Falcons with only 4 seconds to look. Only 4 seconds to go in the first half.
That kick right down the middle of the uprights, and that looked like it could have gone in from 60. And he makes it look really effortless, too. He's just a really special kicker. Michigan is lucky to have him.
And excuse me, it was a 49-yard field goal, but regardless, still a very good kick by Nordin. And the special teams has been pretty good for Michigan so far today.
Yeah, now 4 seconds to go here. Play clock. We'll see if Air Force decides to return it. If they do return it, the clock should run out. We should end the half here. Maybe they will try and kneel it, you know, try for one big play with their offense. Can't imagine they'll get it, though.
James Fogue, the senior from Palo Alto, California, getting prepared to kick it off. Tim McVeigh, the man deep for the Falcons.
Yeah, we'll see. He'll probably just squib it here.
James Fogue, one of the captains for today's game, was out there for the coin toss with McCray and Mason Cole, the other captain, and it's going to go in the end zone for a touchback. So Air Force will have 4 seconds left in the half to probably run just one play.
Interesting decision there, not squibbing the ball. I'm surprised Michigan doesn't just want to go into the half with the 3-point lead, but not that they really should fear this Air Force offense now that I say it, though. Hopefully I did not jinx anything here.
And looks like Air Force is just going to line up and knee the ball here, so pretty harmless way to end the first half. Air Force in the victory formation despite not actually having a victory yet, but Worthman takes the knee, and that's going to end it for us in the first half. So before we close out here and let you guys enjoy halftime, I'm going to ask Nate any thoughts, any closing thoughts he has for the first half of play here.
Well, the Michigan offense is just still struggling against inferior opponents, you know, teams they really should, you know, really be manhandling on offense. You know, really everyone was worried about this Michigan defense. Would they be able to stop this unique triple option offense? You know, they've had no problem at all. They have done an excellent job. It has been this offense, you know, playing against inferior competition that just cannot get anything going. It's really frustrating and is not a good sign for Michigan as they are about to start their Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, and again, that's it for the first half. Michigan leads Air Force 9-6. I'm Will Yang with Nate Sorensen, and stay tuned for the second half as Chris Pickler and Daniel Thompson will be on the call. For now, we'll be out.
Go Blue.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second half here at the Big House. Your score, Michigan 9, Air Force 6. My name is Chris Pickler alongside Daniel Thompson. Daniel, what are the keys for Michigan to take down this Air Force team at home?
Red zone offense. I believe Michigan has gone all season without a single touchdown once they've taken a snap inside the red zone. They have gotten to the red zone twice today. Both times failed to convert. If they can begin to convert these red zone drives, the game should be theirs to win.
James Fogue on for the kickoff. Air Force won the toss, elected to defer to the second half. Malik Miller back for Air Force. The wind-up and the kick. This will be returnable from the 1 yard line. No, he's going to let it bounce over his head just in the end zone. Looked like it could be returnable, and Air Force will get the ball at the 25-yard line.
It was a good kick, very shallow, and had a great hang time. It definitely looked tempting for McVay to return. However, he wisely chose not to, as Michigan defenders got down near the 20-yard line by the time the ball hit the end zone.
Arian Worthman is the quarterback, 0 for 0 for 0 yards in the first half. That's right, not a single pass thrown by Air Force. They do have 24 rushes for 91 yards. Worthman, 15 rushes, 58 yards. Timothy McVay, only 4 rushes for 23 yards. He's their secret weapon in the option. Michigan comes out with a 3-3-5 defense. Worthman under center. He's got McVay behind him. Looks like it's going to be the triple option. Looks over to the sidelines, getting the play call. 2 to the right, 1 to the left if he does want to throw it. Worthman under center. He's got it. It's a straight handoff.
Parker Wilson.
Parker Wilson on the rush. It's a gain of about 1, and it'll be 2nd and 9 for the Falcons.
And when Air Force doesn't run an option, they like to run right down the middle of the field to the left or right at the center in those A-gaps. Maurice Hurst has done a fantastic job so far today, shutting down any traditional running play.
2nd and 9 for the Air Force Falcons. Worthman's got McVay behind him, 2 tight ends and a wide receiver to the right. Under center, he's got it. He's going to throw the ball for the first time all day. He's going to go deep, and that ball is incomplete. Intended for Ronald Cleveland. Almost picked off by Khaleke Hudson.
And Josh Metellus even had a chance at that. Khaleke Hudson tipped it up into the air, and Metellus came in, and he really looked like he had a chance to pick that off. The ball hit the ground right before he could get to it.
3rd and 9, the Michigan defense coming out, making a statement. Oh, what, 3 and out. This will be the first 3 and out of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, and it'll be interesting to see the play call here. Air Force doing their first pass attempt, and everyone was covered. We'll see if they try another pass right here.
Worthman under center, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. He's got McVay behind him. He's got it. He's going to throw again, and the pass rush gets to him. He's going to throw it away, but it should be a grounding. He had McVay in the area. Chase Winovich on almost the sack. No flag for grounding that time. It'll be 4th and 9 for the Falcons.
And it looks like the rest will not throw a flag. That's pretty defensible. I mean, there was a very obvious intended receiver. Nonetheless, now Air Force has rolled out to pass 3 times, sack, incompletion, and 2 incompletions.
Charlie Scott on for the punt. Donovan Peoples-Jones back to return. 4th and 9. The snap is good. Kick is up. Peoples-Jones having to back up way from the 30 to the 20. He'll roll to the left, and he's got room. Up to the 30, 35-40, 45-50. He's breaking away to the 45, takes it outside. He's got the punter to beat. 30, 25-20, and he'll be knocked out at the 12. No! He's in! Touchdown! Donovan Peoples-Jones on the punt return. Jabril, who? Touchdown, Michigan.
It looked like Charlie Scott had the angle, but Donovan Peoples-Jones shakes off the punter and walks into the end zone. This is exactly what Michigan needed. They have not been able to convert the ball at all. It looked scary when Peoples-Jones was about to be pushed out at the 15-yard line, but now Harbaugh does not have to worry about the red zone offense for at least a few more minutes.
Quinn Nordine in for the extra point. Holders Alex Malzone, the snappers Andrew Robinson. 15-6 pending the extra point. Nordine ready. It's equivalent to a 26-yard field goal. It's up. It's good. And your score is Michigan 16, Air Force 6.
And Peoples-Jones had fantastic blocking ahead of him on that on that return. Everyone to his left was blocked, and he could just sprint up the field for 30 yards, gaining momentum. And at that point, he was too fast for anyone to cut. He turned right back towards the right sideline, and no one could tackle him. Fantastic team effort by the punt return team.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, now we've seen him have trouble, especially last week. 2 fumbles on punt returns, not telling his blockers where to go. But today he's looked great, including that return there. First punt return touchdown for the Wolverines of the season, and first since Jabril Peppers last year.
And we get an idea why Peoples-Jones has been so trusting of his blockers, even though he may have forced them to not be looking for the ball and create 2 fumbles last week. They gave him such great coverage. He only had what I believe to be the long snapper and the punter to beat by the time he got to the 50-yard line. Shook off 2 tackles and was gone.
And it looked like the punter, Charlie Scott, it really looked like he had an angle on Peoples-Jones, but that time didn't really matter. Peoples-Jones outran him, and Michigan takes a 10-point lead. Huge for this Michigan team.
It seemed like a foregone conclusion that Air Force punter Charlie Scott was going to force Peoples-Jones out of bounds, but he was just too quick, I think quicker than Scott was expecting, and he was unable to push him out of bounds even.
James Fogue on for the kick. Back deep for Air Force is Timothy McVeigh, back deep.
And that punt return will be great for Peoples-Jones' career highlight reel for years to come, as he crosses field and basically runs right along the 50-yard line across the Big M at midfield. You really could not drop any better of punt blocking for Peoples-Jones.
As we wait for the TV timeout to expire.
And that seemed to be by far the longest punt of the day for Air Force. And you have to wonder if they will consider that going forward. Maybe they do not want to have 2 good of punts anymore, nothing that goes too deep, because it gave Peoples-Jones a fantastic opportunity to return that ball.
James Fogue is ready. Back deep, James Jones and Timothy McVeigh. He's been the hero so far this season for Air Force, but only today, 4 attempts. He's got 23 yards, but Michigan doing a great job at forcing Worthman to run. He's got 15 attempts, and the rest of the team combined has 10, so Worthman has kept it most of the day.
And Chris, do you anticipate for Air Force to stick with their game plan and run, or continue to pass as we saw on that previous drive?
The previous drive was a 3-and-out. You saw what happened. I mean, the Michigan defender, Worthman is not great at going back and passing. This is a run-first team, and I think they need to continue to try to beat this Michigan defense on the ground. But it's going to be really hard against one of the top rush defenses in the country. Fogue, wind-up kick. McVeigh is going to let this one bounce in the end zone for another touchback.
Once again, a beautiful kick by Fogue. He's really toying with McVeigh, making it seem like these kicks are returnable, but they just barely go into the end zone. And if McVeigh had tried to return it, he would have been met with tacklers immediately.
You know, that's the goal when you play Madden. Get the ball to the 1-yard line. Force them to have to return it as compared to taking a knee in the end zone. Absolutely,
and as both the NFL and NCAA have moved to drives starting on the 25 and ensuing a touchback, more and more teams try that strategy.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to get to the 25. We've seen, I think, 2 kickoff returns, one from each team, and both ended up at the 15-yard line.
And Michigan had one good return negated by a penalty.
Yep. So unless you're Jabril Peppers, you better be taking that knee. Worthman's got it. No receivers, 2 tight ends to the right, 3 in the backfield. He's got it. It's a handoff. McVeigh brings it to the right. He's going to get nowhere. Give him about 4 yards, maybe 5. That was Parker Wilson, excuse me.
And that was a good push by the Air Force offensive line. They continued to move the ball. Parker Wilson continued to move his legs and was able to turn that into a 6-yard gain. Questionable spot there. I believe the play could have been whistled dead earlier, but that will be a 6-yard gain for Air Force.
Three in the backfield for Worthman under center. 2 tight ends to the right. He's got it. It's going to roll to the left. It's the option. He's going to go inside. He's got nowhere. Oh, Worthman maybe got a yard there. We've seen him, like we said before, 15 attempts, make it 16 now, and the Michigan defense forces a 3rd and 3.
And once again, Michigan defense does a great job stopping Arion Worthman from getting any significant yardage. We now have 3rd and 3, a very obvious rushing situation for the Falcons. I don't expect any surprises.
Worthman under center, 2 tight ends to the right, 3 in the backfield, including Parker Wilson right behind him. Worthman's got it. It's the option to the right. He's got room, fakes the pitch to Wilson. He's going to go up and get about 4 yards on 3rd and 3, give him the first down.
And a well-executed option. Worthman saw that McVay was covered, and he just took the yards himself. A modest game, but what they needed to move the chains. Air Force should continue to stick with this game plan. It's been effective enough. Only 6 points, but Michigan's offense has not put up enough to force Air Force to change their game plan. And as long as the game is close enough, Air Force should stick with what they're best at.
They've got McVay lined up as a wide out to the left. Parker Wilson behind Worthman. He's got a receiver to his right and 2 players to his right as well. Worthman's going to go back. He's going to pass. He's going to throw the ball wide open. It's Ronald Cleveland. 35-30, 25-20, 15-10-5. Touchdown, Air Force.
Well, and Air Force embarrassed me right there. Right after I recommend they continue to run, they pull off a rare passing play. In fact, only their 4th attempted pass, 2nd completed pass of the entire game.
Tyree Cannell was trying to run him down. It was wide open. Cannell on the coverage, and Cleveland went right by him. And just like that, it's 16-12, pending the extra point.
And I think Air Force may have gotten sick of the matchup where, with Michigan's great front 7, they decided to torch Michigan's less experienced defensive backfield.
Luke Strebel on for the kick. Spot down, kick up, kick good. And your score, Michigan 16, Air Force 13, 11:54 to go, 3rd quarter.
And now we have a mixed bag in the passing game for Air Force. Going into this drive, we thought it looked hopeless, but now Air Force's passing game did what they do best and get the occasional big play. That's what Air Force is all about. On defense, give the opportunity for a big play, but try to limit them. On offense, try to get big plays. And that blueprint has worked well enough so far for Air Force's defense and offense today. 1 special teams touchdown for Michigan gives them a 3-point lead.
Interesting note for Arion Worthman, 63 yards on 17 attempts rushing, 64 yards on 1 completion in the passing game with a quarterback rating of 322.5. Really doesn't get much better than that. And Ronald Cleveland brings it in for the score.
And my apologies, that was actually Air Force's 1st completion of the game, not their 2nd. But hard to argue they should stop trying for it after that. Michigan did a great job on their first 3 passing attempts, either deflecting any passes or sacking the quarterback.
It's interesting. We went an entire first half without touchdowns. We're 3:06 into the second half. Already each team has a touchdown. Michigan's came on the Donovan Peoples-Jones punt return. Both big plays as Air Force comes on a 64-yard reception by Ronald Cleveland, who outran Tyree Cannell of Michigan. And it's 16-13, 11:54 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And while most teams use the run to establish the passing game, it looks like Air Force might be doing the opposite. Now that they have that great pass, Michigan's defensive backs are going to have to play a little bit further off the line of scrimmage, which could develop the option game for Air Force. So now that they finally had a successful passing play, their only of the day, which went for 64 yards and a touchdown, now they're going to have a lot more room to run the ball.
It's an important drive for Michigan coming up. If they can score a touchdown here, that would be huge. And they need to really prove that they can score a touchdown because Air Force just showed that they can do it. All of a sudden, instead of 3 field goals, now it's a touchdown to start. 2 field goals, excuse me.
I think Michigan was feeling very comfortable after that Peoples-Jones touchdowns, and now all of a sudden the pressure is back on Wilton Spate, who has not handled it well so far today. Can he keep his composure and lead a solid drive for the Wolverines?
Kakoa Crawford back deep for Michigan. Luke Strabel on for the kickoff. Wind up and the kick. Crawford's going to take it right at the goal line. That's how you do it. He's going to take it 10. 15 goes up the middle to the 19-yard line. They'll give him the 20, and that's where this drive will start. So once again, we talked about it. It's hard to get to the 25. If you can get a touchback, it's what you need to do.
And James Jones on the tackle there. made a good open field tackle. Crawford had some room, but he got him right around the leg and brought Crawford to the ground. Now Michigan has a long field ahead of them to start this drive.
Spate in the gun. He's got Ty Isaac to his right, 2 to the right, 1 to the left, and the tight end Bunting on the right. Spate's got it. He's going to hand off to Ty Isaac. Isaac's going to go nowhere. Oh, he's going to lose yardage here to the 19. Ty Isaac nowhere to go. Jack Floor and Grant Ross on the tackle, 2nd and 11.
And I think Michigan, just as Air Force, should stick with their game plan. They ran the ball a lot, and I think it's no secret Michigan has better athletes than Air Force, and if they stick to this game plan, I think Air Force will get tired, and Michigan should continue to run.
Spate under center. Ty Isaac, the lone back, is going to give it to McDoom, going right. He was going to go outside, cuts it back inside. He'll get to about the 24-yard line, and it'll be a 3rd and about 6 for the Wolverines.
Air Force was all over that play. McDoom made a smart decision to cut inside, and rather than take a loss of yards, he gets a modest gain, setting up 3rd and 5. And now we have 3rd and medium, and we'll see what the Wolverines do.
Spate's going to be in the gun. Ty Isaac to his right. Tariq Black to the right, 3 guys to the left. Spate ready. He's got it. Air Force sends 4. He's got plenty of time. He's going to go deep to Black, and it's going to be incomplete. Good coverage by Marquise Griffin. Black almost making an acrobatic catch. Instead, it's a 3 and out for the Wolverines, and Air Force can take a lead with the touchdown.
Yeah, Michigan's defense, last time they were on the field, which was only about 2 minutes ago in game time and maybe only 5 minutes in real time. They had to be feeling great last time they were out there with a 10-point lead. Now they can't let up anything like that, or they will be losing next time they come back on the field.
Will Hart in punt formation. Ronald Cleveland, who just scored the touchdown, back deep to return. Snap good. Hart's got it and almost blocked. Instead, it's going to go, and Cleveland's going to wait for a fair catch at the 32-yard line. And that is where Air Force will start.
Good kick, good coverage. Cleveland really had no option but to call the fair catch. And it looks like the ball has been placed at the 34-yard line. That seems pretty generous to Air Force.
Kyle Floyd, the strong safety, almost blocking the Hart punt. It was very close. He doesn't, and Air Force takes over at the 32-yard line.
And now we'll see if Air Force can utilize that extra room they should be getting now that they have established their passing game. Perhaps not established it, but they have shown that Michigan defensive backs cannot ignore it.
Wilton Spate, 7 of 13, 105 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Ty Isaac leads the way with 10 rushes, 61 yards, with a long of 32.
And what should be noted is that 64-yard passing touchdown did not go through the air very far. The total air yardage on that ball must have been about 15, 20 yards. The ball was not caught very far ahead of the chains. Cleveland just had the angle and took that 64 yards to the house as he ran from sideline to sideline effectively to score the touchdown.
Yes, that is on the Air Force side. Michigan receiving, Tariq Black and Ty Isaac, both 2 receptions. Black has 23 yards, Isaac has 6. Peoples-Jones has 1 for 37 yards, Gentry has 1 for 30 yards, and McDoom has 1 for 9. On the other side, Air Force, Worthman 1 of 3, passing 64 yards. That was the only completion. It was a touchdown. Rushing, Worthman's got 17 rushes, 63 yards, along with 34. And Timothy McVeigh, 4 rushes, 23 yards with a long of 15. And the only reception was the 64-yard touchdown by Ronald Cleveland.
And interestingly, Ronald Cleveland, both catchable balls that were thrown to Air Force receivers were targeted towards Ronald Cleveland. So expect him to get more coverage as in this ensuing drive. Now Air Force typically only has about 1 receiver on the field at a time with their flex bone formation. So anticipate the running backs to get more open as Cleveland will have extra attention paid to him now by the Michigan defense.
Ronald Cleveland also the punt returner for this Falcons squad, who's 1-0. Their only win is 62-0. And what was the team that beat him? VMI?
Yes, VMI is the team that they defeated. Virginia Military Institute, I believe.
Got it. Okay.
So that's a military game. and 62-0. It's an FCS opponent, but an impressive victory nonetheless. This Air Force team went 10-3 last season and defeated 19th ranked at the time Boise State in their final regular season game. This is not a team to be overlooked.
All right, the players go back out. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line for Air Force. They can take a lead with the touchdown.
And interestingly, they are not in the flex bone set. They have 3 receivers out there.
2 to the right, 1 to the left. He's got Parker Wilson behind him. Worthman under center. He's got it. He's going to throw again. He's got plenty of time. Pocket collapses, and he's going to get sacked. That's Chase Winovich, the linebacker, on the sack. Got behind him on the blind side, and it'll be 2nd and about 16 for the Falcons.
And that is not what Air Force wanted to start the drive. They now are going to have to pass even more now that they have such long yardage to cover. They sent their best playmaker, Tim McVeigh, out wide as a receiver, and he now lines up in the backfield again.
2nd down, 3 backs behind him, including Parker Wilson, Timothy McVeigh. He fakes it to Wilson. It's the option, and he's going to go nowhere. He fumbles the football, and it goes out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Tried to get it outside to Ronald Cleveland. It goes right by him. It was a backwards pass, and it went out of bounds at the 19. My goodness, it's going to be 3rd and 25 for the Air Force Falcons.
Worthman made a poor decision there. He panicked. He should have just took his losses. Instead, with Rashawn Gary all over him, he tries to force the ball out, and it just rolls backwards for a huge loss.
3rd and 25 for Air Force. Not quite sure what you can do here against this Michigan defense. But Worthman, how do you like this? He's in the gun. 1 back to his right, 2 to the right, 1 to the left, and a tight end on his right. Worthman in the gun. It's uncomfortable. He's got it. Michigan blitzes. He's going to run at the middle, and he's going to get barely anywhere. Devin Bush on the tackle. Give him a gain of 2, and it'll be 4th and 23 and a 3-and-out for Air Force.
And all game, Michigan has done a fantastic job of limiting Worthman on his feet. They tried to trick the defensive there, and it did not work at all. Bush immediately found Worthman after a few yards ahead of the line of scrimmage.
Charlie Scott on punt formation, back deep for the Wolverines. Donovan Peoples-Jones, we just saw what he can do, scoring the touchdown. And on 4th down, Charlie Scott will punt. Here we go. The snap is good. It's a little low. The punt goes off. Peoples-Jones waves his blockers off at the 50. It's going to take a Michigan pass to the 45, all the way to the 44-yard line in Air Force territory, and Michigan will take over with great field position.
Smart decision by Peoples-Jones. He got benched last week as Harbaugh favored Grant Perry, the more experienced senior. Peoples-Jones showed he learned his lesson and made a wise decision to call his blockers off the ball, and the ball takes a very favorable Michigan bounce. Ball at the 47-yard line now. Air Force 48. 43, my apologies. Let's see what the Wolverine offense can do with this field position.
8:21 to go, 3rd quarter. Michigan up 3 with the ball. Spate under center in the I formation. 1 to his right and 2 tight ends on either side. He's going to hands off to Ty Isaac. Isaac going to get nowhere. Give him 3 yards. Tackle by Marquise Griffin. And it'll be 2nd and 7 for Michigan.
Great tackle by Griffin. It looked like Isaac was beginning to build up some momentum, but he took down Isaac before that could become a threat at all.
Spate gets ready in the gun. Got Ty Isaac to his left, Kakoa Crawford and Eddie McDoom to his left. 2 to his right. Spate, he's got it. He's going to look to the right now. He's going to look to the left. He's going to run to the left. He's got room to the 40, 35, out to the 33-yard line. Give Michigan a 1st down and a gain of 7.
Wise decision by Spate. He's admitted that he has played poorly under pressure so far this season, but he saw everyone was covered, did not panic, did not try to force a play, saw tons of green grass ahead of him, and took that ball for a 1st down. And I believe he becomes the only other Michigan rusher over 10 yards.
Spate in the gun, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. He's going to get it to McDoom. McDoom fakes off 2 defenders to the 27. Shoots both of them. Got a gain of about 5, and it'll be 2nd and 5. Great play by McDoom, who looked like he was doomed.
Another great cut by McDoom. It looked like he could have lost yardage on both touches he's had this half, and instead he makes great cuts inside to gain a few yards.
Spate's got Karan Higdon in the backfield, along with fullback Khalid Hill. He'll give it to Higdon, who bursts up the middle to about the 24-yard line. Give him a gain of 3, and it's going to be 3rd and 2 for the Wolverines. Big play here.
And right before that snap, Eddie McDoom came sprinting into the backfield to fake as if he was going to get a direct snap. McDoom has established himself as a dangerous threat on this Michigan offense, and now the Michigan offense is trying to intimidate defenses with his presence.
Spate under center. He's got Ty Isaac behind him on 3rd and 2. He's got 2 tight ends to the left, 1 to the right. And when Peoples-Jones wide out on the right side, Isaac's going to get it. He's going to go upfield. He's going to get tripped up, and it's going to be close. It looks like he's going to be a yard short. And we'll see what Harbaugh wants to do on 4th and 1. The Michigan offense wants to go quickly. It looks like they're going to go for this.
Khalid Hill comes onto the field, the big fullback who is great for picking up 1 yard when you need it.
4th down and 1 from the Air Force 23. Spate telling the fans to be quiet. I formation. It's Ty Isaac and Khalid Hill in the backfield. Spate's got it. It's a give to Khalid Hill, and he's going to easily get that yard, make it 2, and a 1st down for Michigan, knocking on the door of the red zone at the 21.
A great push from the Michigan offensive line. Khalid Hill just comfortably jumped over the pile to ensure he got the 1st down. Could not really play a 4th and 1 situation any better than that.
Big pickup for the Wolverines. Instead of settling for a field goal, still a 1-possession game. Instead, Michigan keeps the drive alive. He's in the gun. 3 to the right, 1 Tariq Black to the left. And Karan Higdon to his right. He fakes the handoff. It's a blitz from Air Force. Spate's got time. He's going to find Grant Perry to the 7-yard line. He'll get knocked out of bounds by Kyle Floyd. And Michigan's got a 1st and goal. Great pass from Spate.
Spate's looked a lot better this half. The Air Force brought the heat. Spate kept his composure and found the open receiver to get the 1st down.
His big issue, under pressure, and that time he was under pressure, got the ball out. 1st and goal, they're going to mark him at the 8. Spate under center, 2 backs behind him are Higdon and Ty Isaac. He's going to give it to Higdon. Higdon up the middle, maybe to the 7-yard line. Give him 1 yard, it'll be 2nd and goal.
He was met immediately by tacklers, got a modest gain, 1 or 2 yards. And now Michigan is going to have to find out, can they score their first red zone touchdown of the season with 2nd and goal from the 7. It looks like Air Force is completely sold out on the run and is going to try to force Wilton Spate to throw a passing touchdown on this drive.
Spate in the gun. He's got Ty Isaac to his left, 2 receivers, Tariq Black, and it looks like Eddie McDoom to the left, 1 to the right. That's Grant Perry. Grant Perry in motion to the left side. Spate's got it. He's going to go to the left. It's Grant Perry to the 7. Great open field tackle that time by Marquise Griffin. Shaquille Vereen, excuse me. It looked like a 2. It was a 6. And it's going to be 3rd down and goal. This is from the 8-yard line. It was a loss of 1. Big play here for the Wolverines.
And poor decision by Spate there. I don't think he really went through his reads and found the best target, just the first target who was open.
2 to the right, 2 to the left. Black and McDoom to the right. He's got Ty Isaac to his left. He's in the gun. 3rd and goal for the Wolverines from the 8. They're going to blitz. Ty Isaac goes nowhere. It was a rush up the middle and slammed in the middle there from the Air Force defense. The fans booing that call. I don't blame them.
Very conservative play call, and Air Force showed blitz right before the snap. I think Wilton Spate could have called an audible there to try to take advantage of the blitz. Very conservative, avoiding the turnover.
Quinn Nordine out to the 29-yard line. He's hit 3 so far today. We'll see if he can make it 4. Air Force bringing 9 of their 11. Spot down by Malzone. It's good. The kick is up. The kick is good. And with 2:59 to go, 3rd quarter, it's Michigan 19, Air Force 13.
And unfortunately for the Wolverines, Nordine is possibly their MVP.
You're not wrong.
Well,
that's the worst part.
Peoples-Jones has had 1 good reception today and the long punt return, thankfully giving a non-special teams player, putting a non-special teams player in the competition for MVP for the Wolverines. Meanwhile, Air Force is stuck to their game plan, continuing to sell it on the run and not giving Michigan any big rushing plays on that drive. They're going to make Spate win this game for the Wolverines. That's really the Wolverines' only option if they give up any more big plays or touchdowns on defense. They're going to have to see Spate play better as Air Force continues to do what they always do against all teams, make the opposing team's quarterback make decisions quickly in order to get big plays. And so far, Spate's done an okay job, but has been quite poor in the red zone. Michigan now 0 for 3 on drives that get into the red zone, having to settle for a field goal each time. And that's been the story all season for the Wolverines on offense. Turnovers and bad red zone offense. They are still looking for their first red zone touchdown on the season.
And we saw right there exactly why that is. Air Force, within a possession with 2:59 to go in the third quarter. Not what they wanted as 22.5-point favorites. It doesn't matter, and James Fogg will come on for the kickoff.
And the fans rightfully booed the team on that last third and goal attempt. With the opportunity to go up by 2 scores, they played it very conservatively, showing very little trust in their quarterback, Wilton Spate.
And if, for whatever reason, the Michigan defense were to give up a touchdown here, it would be up to Quinn Nordine. Like you said, he's the MVP. It would be up to him to take another lead. But first, the Michigan defense will have to give up that touchdown. Here comes James Fogg for the kickoff. Back deep for Air Force, Ronald Cleveland and Timothy McVeigh. We'll put it on the left hash mark. He's been doing a great job at kicking out of the end zone. He's been one of the best in the country at that percentage. Almost every kick is a touchback, and we don't expect anything different here. Here we go. The windup, run up, kick. Oh, that's going to be short. They're going to get a chance to return this one from the 3-yard line. That might have been on purpose. Here comes McVeigh to the 15, all the way to the 19-yard line. And we said it before, if you can force them to run it out inside the 5, you're not getting to the 25-yard line. Give them the 19, first down, Air Force.
And I really doubt McVeigh wanted to have to return that ball, but he saw that it was going to land short of the goal line, forcing him to try to return. But Michigan's special teams was able to get down the field, tackling him at the 19-yard line. And now Air Force has to look for a better possession than their previous one.
2:55 to go third quarter. Michigan 19, Air Force 13. Each team with 3 timeouts left. Michigan leads the yardage battle 2:24 to 1:40-54. 22 minutes to 20 minutes in possession in favor of the Wolverines. Worthman's ready. He's got Cleveland, Wilson, and McVeigh in the backfield. 2 receivers to the left and right. Under center. Worthman's got it. He's going to fake the handoff. He's going to throw. He's got time. He's going to way overthrow his receiver.
Flag on the field.
That was Ryan Riffett. There is a flag on the field. We'll see what it is.
Early indications are against Air Force.
It is a hold on center Alex Norton, and instead of 2nd and 10, it's 1st and 20.
And once again, Air Force has dug themselves into a huge hole to start back-to-back drives. They may be going 3 and out for the 3rd time this half.
It's interesting, when you're running that triple option, it's really hard to get 20 yards in 3 plays. It's decent to get 10. And Air Force might have to throw the ball. And we saw by Worthman there way overthrowing his receiver, Ryan Riffett. 1st and 19 for the Falcons. Worthman under center. He's got the 3 backs, 2 receivers to his left and right. He's going to go opposite to Timothy McVeigh. They miss a tackle, but they're going to get him at the 11-yard line. Tyree Cannell missed the tackle that would have lost him 4 yards. Rashawn Gary out there with the tackle. Give him about 1 yard. It's 2nd and 18.
And Michigan has done a good job limiting any outside runs from the Air Force. Only really 1 large outside run to speak of right now for the Air Force Falcons.
2nd and 18 here. Worthman ready. He's in the shotgun. Parker Wilson behind him. Now he's going to go under center. He's got Cleveland to his right, McVeigh to his left. 2 receivers left and right. He's got it. He's going to have to throw the ball. He's got plenty of time. He's going to look downfield, and he is going to way overthrow his receiver. That's Jared Sanders, excuse me. Jared Sanders not really close on that one, ended up falling down. And it's 3rd and 18 for an Air Force offense that does not like this.
And now it appears the Air Force has overplayed their hand. They had a great opportunity with Michigan having to be afraid of the passing play, and I think the Wolverines are no longer scared by Air Force's ability to pass the ball.
Michigan stack in the box. They're ready to go. They got the 3-3 Cannell waiting on the right. Worthman's got it. It's a triple option. He's going to go to the left. He's got room, but not much. Hit at the 15, dragged down to about the 17-yard line. And it's a gain of 6. It's going to be 4th and 12 and another Air Force 3-and-out.
And this drive, we have seen the Falcons go 3-and-out, 64-yard touchdown pass, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. So this half has been very different from the first. Both offenses showing more speed, only 2 touchdowns of the game occurring in this third quarter with 1:36 to go currently.
Charlie Scott in punt formation back deep for the Wolverines. The freshman Donovan Peoples-Jones has already returned 1 today. It's a good snap. The punt is out. It's a good one. Peoples-Jones going to back up. He's going to get a chance to return it from the 30-yard line. He's going to go to the right, get the outside. He's going to get his blocks to the 35, 35-40, 45-50. And he's going to be knocked out in Air Force territory to the 47-yard line. Shades of Jabril Peppers from last year. And the Wolverines once again start in Air Force territory.
Another great punt by Charlie Scott, but the difference is this time the Air Force special teams unit is able to get down the field, get off some blocks, and not give Peoples-Jones just yards and yards of rushing room. Still a good return by Jones. He gets out to the Air Force 46-yard line.
24 yards.
Yeah, setting up the Wolverines with another great field position.
Big for Spate here, 1:13 to go, third quarter, 19-13 Michigan on top. They're looking for more. Spate under center. He's only got one wide out. It's Crawford, to the left. Now he's going to put McKeon in action. He's going to hand off to Ty Isaac, cuts it back to the right. He's going to get nowhere, give him maybe a yard. And it'll be 2nd and 9 for Michigan.
And with exception to one long run by Ty Isaac, the Air Force Falcons have done a fantastic job of implementing their game plan, shut down the run, and force the Wolverines to throw the ball, test Wilton Spate, and it's worked perfectly so far for the Falcons.
Jack Flora on the tackle. 2nd down, Spate. Under center, gives it to Isaac. Isaac going to cut it with the left. He's got room. 40, 35, 30, 25, gets a block. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Michigan. There is 2 flags. It's going to be holding. Bring it back. It is a touchdown right now, but it looks like Michigan's going to have to go from the 30-yard line. Give them a first down.
Nonetheless, a positive play for the Wolverines. It will set up a first down.
It's Crawford on the hold. He was that last blocker I was referring to. It's going to be a hold on him. Tackle by Garrett Coppola.
Holding. Offense number 1.
It is indeed a hold on Crawford. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. And they'll get a first down on about the 29-yard line.
And the Wolverine fans don't like it, but Crawford did basically tackle the oncoming defender. Nonetheless, a great positive play for the Wolverines.
All right, I'm not sold on the call, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. From the 29-yard line, it is 1st and 10. 37 seconds to go in the third quarter. Spade under center. He's got Higdon behind him. He's going to give it to Tyreek Black, give him a move right on the line of scrimmage. Great run there. It looked like nothing. Tackled by Marquise Griffin. Spotted at the 22, 2nd and 3.
And now short yardage situation for the Wolverines, but they are right on the edge of that red zone. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked for the end zone right now to try to avoid another failed red zone drive.
Spade going to go outside to Higdon. Higdon's got it to the right. He's going to cut back into the 21, across the 20 to the 19. We'll see where they spot it. It'll be close to the first down marker. It depends on the spot. It's either 3rd and inches or first down for Michigan. They're going to give him the first down.
Great run by Higdon. He was hit 2 or 3 times on that rush, but refused to go down and inched forward for the first down.
And just like that, it's the end of the third quarter. Your score, Michigan 19, Air Force 13. It'll be a Michigan first down at the Air Force 19-yard line when we come back for the fourth quarter.
And Michigan, when they start the fourth quarter, should be looking to make this a 2-score game. Field goal or a touchdown will do the job, but a touchdown could give Michigan a 13-point lead, which sounds a lot more safe than a 9-point lead. But Air Force has to be pleased for the most part with this game. They could be winning right now were it not for a long Donovan Peoples-Jones punt return. And he has really been the only Wolverine on offense to consistently cause problems for the Air Force Falcons. I think they should stick with their game plan, and they will still be in this game to the end.
And a pretty good quarter there for Wilton Spate. Started a little shaky. He's up to 11 of 17, 129 yards. Ty Isaac up to 15 rushes, 90 yards. Tariq Black has the most receptions with 3. He's got 30 yards with a long of 15 and 4 targets.
And a much more exciting quarter with 17 points scored as opposed to the 15 scored in the first half alone.
Definitely more exciting. And 15 minutes to go on this one. Michigan now going to try to kind of milk the clock here, as this Air Force offense can get out of hand in a hurry. They've had 2 3-and-outs in a row, but we know they can score very easily based on that 64-yard touchdown pass to Cleveland.
Absolutely. They may be a running team, but they can still move the ball quickly. In 2016, they were 7th in adjusted pace, so despite the fact that they run a lot, they get those runs off quickly, and many of those runs are for big plays as they use the option to get by defenders. A couple of scores from across the country. Right now, the only other Big Ten team in action is Nebraska, who trails Northern Illinois 14-7, following 2 first-quarter pick-sixes thrown by Nebraska quarterback Tanner Lee. Oklahoma State, currently ranked 9th, leads Pittsburgh 56-14. Pittsburgh lost to a top 10 opponent last week in Penn State, and it looks like they will be facing their second consecutive loss to a top 10 squad. And 25th ranked UCLA trails Memphis 24-27 at halftime.
Oh, wow.
So we see one ranked team in trouble, and the Wolverines not out of the woods yet. Meanwhile, the only other Big Ten team in play currently is in big trouble as the Huskers trail MAC opponent Northern Illinois 14-7. And the other Big Ten team to play this week, Illinois, lost 47-23 at the hands of 22 South Florida.
And the game, I watched a little bit of it. It didn't seem that close.
No, it was not that close at all. There were a couple blocked extra points and field goals on South Florida's part. There was an early red zone interception by the Illinois Fighting Illini, but really not that close of a game at all. Really the most interesting thing to come out of that was just the parade of penalties that we saw in the first half.
Did it hit the record?
No, it did not. And the second half was much cleaner. Only 5. They ended up 5 short of the record.
All right, we're back. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line for the Wolverines. Spate in the I formation under center. He fakes the handoff. He's going to throw. He's going to go deep all the way. That's Grant Perry. No good. Eddie McDoom, excuse me. That was Eddie McDoom. The pass was overthrown. Incomplete. He had a step on his defender. Good vision. 2nd and 10.
That was good vision and a confident play by Spate. A little overthrown. He had an open Grant Perry, but he saw McDoom would have been open in the end zone as he was beating the safety. Just a poor throw.
2nd down underneath. Karan Higdon in the backfield. Trips right to the left. Tariq Black on his right. It's a handoff to Higdon. He's going to get hit right at the line. He's going to go nowhere. And Marquise Griffin on the tackle there. Give him a yard. It'll be 3rd and 9 for the Wolverines.
And once again, Air Force has been able to impose their will on defense and force a 3rd and long in the red zone for the Wolverines. They will test Wilton Spate once again. I anticipate them to bring the blitz as they typically do and force Spate to make a quick throw in order to get Michigan's first offensive touchdown of the game.
Spate in the gun. He's got Karan Higdon to his left, Tariq Black to the right, and trips on his left. It's Crawford, McKeon, and Perry, and Michigan's going to take a timeout on 3rd and 10.
Charge timeout, Michigan.
14:24 to go. 4th quarter. Things not looking great for the Wolverines. They're up 6, but it looks like they might have to settle for another field goal.
And Chris, do you expect another conservative play call? We know the fans did not like it here in the big house, but a field goal here does give Michigan the lead. Quinn Nordine has been fantastic all season, and this would be a pretty easy field goal. If they could just line up the ball in the middle, take a 9-point lead, that might be good enough for Jim Harbaugh.
You know, it's going to be really hard for Air Force to score twice on this defense. We've seen 2 straight 3-and-outs. I have no problem with a field goal here. Run it up the middle. Put it about the middle for Quinn Nordine to make it a 2-possession game. I don't think Air Force is going to score twice. You can boo it all you want, but I have no problem with the run up the gut. Get it to about the middle of the field and give Nordine a chance to make this a 2-possession game. I have no problem as compared to an incompletion or even worse, an interception.
And Stephen Russ, the Falcons defensive coordinator, I think he will be very content to stick to what he always does, bring a lot of pressure, try to force a turnover, because that does seem Air Force's best opportunity to stay in this game. They can't afford another Michigan point and then Michigan to presumably pin them back, give them a bad starting territory as they have all first half, and then force the Falcons to try to go down the field. They've had 3 disastrous drives and 1 fantastic drive, the Falcons have. They need to find a way to get better field position, and a turnover might be the way to do that.
All right, today's attendance was just announced. It's another 100,000 plus crowd. The attendance for today is 111,387. That's just about a packed house right there, and it sure looks like it for the Wolverines.
And a good showing from Air Force as well. The back 6 to 7 rows of the big house are filled with blue right now, and Air Force blue. While
now,
the rest
of course, this is just one corner. It's not the entire 6 and 7 rows.
No, just in one section, but
yes.
They have represented themselves pretty well for a team based in Colorado.
Yes, no, this is very impressive. We saw Colorado last year brought their squad, and this year it's no different. 3rd and 10 for the Wolverines. It's Karan Higdon, and if it's not a pass, you might hear another boo for the Wolverines. I have no problem with it. Spate in the gun, Higdon to his left. Spate's got it. He's going to throw. They bring the blitz. Goes to the end zone. Tariq Black, end zone. It's overthrown. Incomplete. Black had no chance at it. And Quinn Nordine will come out. Marquise Griffin on the coverage. It didn't really matter. And Quinn Nordine out for another field goal attempt.
And unless Tariq Black has 6 feet long legs, he has no hope of catching that pass in bounds. Easy play for Griffin. Smart play to not create a pass interference call.
Big kick for Nordine to make it a 2-possession game. The holder is Alex Malzone, the long snapper Andrew Robinson. Spot down, good snap, kick up, and the kick is good.
And Quinn Nordine adds to his resume for being the Michigan MVP here today. Really the only 2 players who have performed perfectly for the Wolverines have been Peoples-Jones and Nordine. Meanwhile, the Falcons, Arion Worthman and Tim McVeigh have both had impressive enough games. The Wolverine defense has done a great job shutting down Tim McVeigh. In fact, he only has 24 yards rushing. And Ronald Cleveland had that explosive 64-yard touchdown. Outside of that, he has not been too much of a factor today.
14:15 to go, 4th quarter. Michigan 22, Air Force 13. Michigan offense yet to score a touchdown in this one. And when you're going on to the Big Ten schedule, I mean, this is really concerning. We can have fun about it right now, but it's going to get real bad real quick.
Michigan cannot continue to play this way if they want to win, if they want to wind up in Indianapolis this year and go to the Big Ten championship game. For the first time since realignment, they will have to score in the red zone. They had 1 bad turnover early today. So far, they have limited that issue.
That was Chris Evans, and I don't believe we've seen Chris Evans since. He has just 3 carries for 18 yards. It's been Karan Higdon's day in the 2nd tier behind Ty Isaac. Wind up and the kick. McVeigh's got it. He's going to take it from the 2. Takes it to the 5 to the 10. He's going to get hit right at the 15-yard line. Hit hard.
And I'm certain
that's Josh Ross on the hit.
And I'm certain McVeigh was not happy to have to return that. Fogue has done a great job almost toying with McVeigh here. Every return is a decision. Can this ball go out of the end zone? And if it doesn't, McVeigh is met by a swarm of Wolverine tacklers every single time.
I'm telling you, I'm going to call it the Madden rule. You put it right on that goal line. They can't waive the fair catch. They can't take the knee. They have to bring it out. They're not getting to the 25 unless their name's Jabril Peppers. Fans on their feet. It's the defense. First and 10 from the 15-yard line. Worthman under center. He's got Parker Wilson behind him. McVeigh to his left. Ronald Cleveland to his right. They've had to start 2nd and longs after sacks on first down the past couple drives. They've both been 3 and outs. Worthman's got it. He's going to roll the option to the right. He's going to keep it. He's going to be taken out at right around the 20-yard line. It's a gain of 5, 2nd and 5 for the Falcons.
And once again, terrible starting field position for the Falcons. Their 5th drive of the half, and every single time they're starting at the 25-yard line or worse. Don Brown and Jim Harbaugh have to be happy with this. Despite the offense's underwhelming performance, the defense is never in too much pressure.
Don Brown defense is terrifying. Worthman under center. Cleveland to his right, asking for the play again. Wilson, he's got McVeigh from the left to the outside. They're going to take it. Run outside. There is a flag. They'll be taken out at the 23. It's 3rd and 2. But it seems like this one's going to come back on the Falcons.
And the Falcons need to get the ball to McVeigh more and not commit penalties. He only has 5 attempts on the day.
Defensive holding, excuse me. And it's going to be a first down. Instead of 3rd and 2, it's a first down. That's on Chase Winovich. 10-yard penalty, be a first down at the 34-yard line.
And this will be the furthest down the field Air Force will take a snap all half, with exception to the one long touchdown pass, which took place at the 36. So they're only 2 yards away from eclipsing the furthest they've made it downfield all half, for a snap at least.
Worthman under center, Parker Wilson behind him, Cleveland to the right, McVeigh to the left. You've heard me say that before. They rush to the right. McVeigh's got it on the hit, taken out hard by Mike McCray. A gigantic hit out of bounds.
McVeigh had to stumble back towards his own teammates on the sideline. An electrifying hit by Mike McCray, but a good job so far this drive getting the ball to McVeigh more, their leading carrier from a year ago. He only has 6 attempts on the game, and he leads the team, 7 attempts, my bad, for 31 yards.
Here we go, 2nd down and 7. It's that 3-back set we've talked about all day. McVeigh in motion to the right. Now he's a wide out from the right. They hike the ball. He's going to bring it back in. They fake to him. They're going to have to go deep. He gets hard. Worthman gets hit hard, and it's picked up. No, it's not picked up. It's dropped. That's Khaleke Hudson. Oh, Khaleke Hudson has a wide open pick. He drops it. Oh, it would have been huge for the Wolverines.
And Worthman is just being under duress all day today from the Wolverines. Every single pass he attempts, he's just being pressured. Only had a man open once, and that resulted in a touchdown. But that's now the 6th time, I believe, that Worthman has dropped back to pass. 1 completion on the day, but for 64 yards.
3rd down and 7. Worthman in the gun. He's got a man in motion. That's Cleveland to the left. He's going to bring it out. He's going to go out to McVeigh. McVeigh's got to make a play to get a first down. He does. And they're going to mark him right at the 44. Make it the 44 and a half. And that is going to give them a first down.
And right when it looked like Michigan was about to put this game away, just as the last time Michigan gained a 2-score lead, Air Force put together a drive, last time with a 64-yard touchdown. This time they are moving the ball for 2 first downs.
And looks like we're going to have a timeout. We will have a timeout. That's going to be on Michigan. That's their 2nd. Oh, he's good. Timeout Michigan, that's their 2nd. They only have 1 remaining. I mean, 12-14 to go. This is not what you want to see. 1 timeout remaining in case these do matter.
Jim Harbaugh may wish he had these at the end of the game, but right now the Wolverines might want a game plan around Tim McVeigh. So far, the Air Force Falcons have not been utilizing their leading rusher from last season at all today, but they've given him the ball, I believe, 3 times now on this drive, and he's been good for at least a 3-yard gain every time, more on the other 2.
He's got 8 attempts for 38 yards.
Arion Worthman, he does lead the team in yards with 61, but he's attempted 22 rushes and only averages 2.8 yards per carry. McVeigh is the only Falcon with more than 3 yards a carry, and he's actually at 4.8 yards a carry. So I think right now the Air Force Falcons need to be thinking about how they can get the ball to their best playmaker besides maybe Arion Worthman, and they need to put this game in McVeigh's hands to try to make it a 1-score game again. And Michigan has done a fantastic job neutralizing a good scrambling quarterback in Arion Worthman. Maybe he doesn't scramble so much, it's designed runs. But nonetheless, just as they shut down Felipe Franks and Malik Zaire in the Florida game, this Wolverine defense with exceptional speed has shut down yet another quick quarterback.
Air Force only 116 yards rushing rushing today, 3.1 average. So it hasn't been that great from a team that has only passed the ball 5 times. The offense hasn't quite been there. They're driving now. They've got 1st and 10 on their own 44, 12-14 to go fourth quarter. Michigan 22, Air Force 13. It is a 2-possession lead, but Air Force currently driving.
Absolutely, with exception to one very big play for the Air Force Falcons. This would otherwise be a fantastic performance for the Michigan Wolverines defense. Really only giving up 10 points with one field goal occurring when off of a Chris Evans fumble, giving the Falcons a very short field. You can only really blame 10 points on the Wolverine defense. Nonetheless, this game is still close enough for the Falcons. I'm sure they would be happy to be in this position going into this game with a very real chance to win it with 12-14 to go.
All right, the defense comes out. Air Force ready for first down. They just got the first down on that 3rd and 7. Give them 7 yards and a first down. Worthman ready. It's the 3-back set. McVay to his right, Cleveland to his left, Parker Wilson right behind him. He also has Riffett, the receiver, out right. Worthman ready under center. He's got it. It's option to the right. He's going to keep it. Now he's going to try to cut it back in. He's going to go nowhere. He's going to get a loss. That's going to be about a 3-yard loss. 2nd and 13 for Air Force.
And Chase Winovich basically pushed right tackle Jake Barnhorst back into Worthman, giving him nowhere to run. And allowing Mike McRae to come in for the tackle.
2nd and 13, Worthman under center. McVay in motion. Now he's going to back out. He's the running back on the left side. He was in motion to the right. Let's see if they continue it. They will continue it. They're going to go outside to McVay. We saw success before. He's got room. Oh, he's got room. 50, 45, 40, 35, down to the 32-yard line. Timothy McVay. Air Force wants a touchdown.
And that will greatly increase McVay's long rush of the game. I'm not sure what this will go down as, but that was about 20, 25 yards. And now McVay is going to be right around tied with Worthman for the most yards of this game. And it appears that Air Force coach Troy Calhoun has taken my advice and fed the ball to McVay more this game.
It is a gain of 27 yards, and it looks like there's an injury. Josh Melitis for the Wolverines. He's their strong safety. We've seen him make a couple plays today. It looks like he's down on around the 27-yard line being looked at.
And it's well known that the Wolverines are inexperienced at defensive back, and a backup for Medalist will have to come in unless he is able to get up off the field and play this next snap, which it really does not seem to be the case. He is down the field. 5 medical trainers looking at him with his helmet off. He is getting up, leaving the field on his own power, which is great to see.
The backup will be number 29, Jordan Glasgow. If he were to miss extended time, he would be the guy that will come in. Brother of Graham, who plays for the Detroit Lions now. He's an offensive lineman.
And his older brother, Ryan Glasgow.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name.
2 days ago, played Thursday night for the Cincinnati Bengals in a pretty good performance. Helped hold Deshaun Watson, the Texans, to only 13 points.
All right, we're back. Worthman in that 3-back set, 2 to the left. 2 receivers to the left. He's ready. McVay to the right. Now they're going to stop. They're going to hold back. Last time that happened, Jamarick Woods is in for Melodist. He's going to bring it out to the right. He's got room. That's Ronald Cleveland, and he's going to get hit hard there.
And as they have all game, Air Force has turned the switch on exactly when they needed to, whether the defense turning the switch on in the red zone or the offense coming up with a huge 64-yard touchdown or good run after good run after good run. They've done exactly what they need to stay in this game. They're bending but not breaking to this Michigan Wolverines team.
That was Jamarick Woods on the tackle. He just came in for Josh Medalist. Worthman ready, understanding. He's going to give it up to Parker Wilson. He's going to go nowhere up the middle. It was 2nd and 1, and it looks like it'll be enough for the first down as Medalist comes back in for Woods. He's back after 2 plays. And it is going to be a 3rd down and inches. Big play for this Michigan defense.
3rd and 1. Let's see what Michigan can do. They have brought in only 3 on the line.
3 in line, which is really interesting. Worthman under center. Parker Wilson behind him. He hands it off to Parker Wilson up the middle. He's going to get the first down to about the 21-yard line. Clock is ticking under 10 minutes. And it'll be a first down very close to the red zone for Air Force. Not what you want to see if you're a Michigan fan.
And interestingly, Carlo Kemp has been in the game for the past few snaps, and now Aubrey Solomon comes in, replacing Rashawn Gary.
Worthman under center, Parker Wilson, the lone back behind him. Worthman's got it, hand off the middle, up to Wilson. Wilson's got room to the 15-yard line, down to the 14. Give him a gain of 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3, Air Force in the red zone.
And after being shut down all half with exception to one big play, all of a sudden the Air Force Falcons can move the ball at will here.
I like the ball. And it looks like Michigan had to use their final timeout. That was Chase Winovich trying to get off before the play was snapped. And that's going to be their final timeout. Fans getting a little restless here at the Big House. Michigan out of timeouts, and that's huge with 9:26 to go.
And the Michigan coaches are visibly upset right here. If Air Force is to score one more time this game and possibly take the lead, Michigan will have no timeouts to try to move the ball down the field. Obviously, right now, the game plan for the Wolverines is not to need those timeouts, but with the way Air Force has moved the ball here, you're not sure if the defense will be able to stop them again.
Big plays coming up here as the Wolverines defense is bending but not quite breaking. 2nd and 4 from the Wolverines 15-yard line. 9:26 to go, fourth quarter. Michigan up 9-22-13. Huge drive here for Air Force. If they can score a touchdown, they are in this game late.
Even a field goal makes it a one-score game, and right now with their excellent kicker Luke Strebel, it would appear that they should at least make this a one-score game, force the Wolverines offense to do something again, as they have been doing all game, putting pressure on this Wolverines offense either mentally or with actual blitzers in the backfield. Let's see if the Wolverine defense can make it easier for their offense.
It's that 3-back set with Wilson, McVeigh, and Cleveland. 2 receivers to the right. Worthman's got it. They're going to roll to the right. He's got McVeigh if he wants him. He's not going to take it. He's going to get the first down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Worthman keeps it. It's 1st and goal for the Air Force Falcons.
And now it's time to test the Air Force Falcons red zone offense, which you would expect as an option flex bone offense would be fantastic inside the red zone. I don't believe they've had a 1st and goal situation all game today. And we'll see if they can do what the Michigan offense cannot and punch in a short field for a touchdown.
1st and goal from the 9. It's that 3-back set. Receivers to the either side. Tight ends, excuse me, not receivers. They're ready to run the ball. 1st and goal from the 9. Worthman under center. He's got it. They're going to roll to the left this time. He's got room. He's going to keep it down at the 6-yard line. Hit hard. It'll be a gain of 3. 2nd down and goal from the 6. Khalid Hudson on the hit.
And Air Force should be happy enough with that. They're able to move the ball and keep the Michigan defense honest and do what the Wolverines have not been able to do on offense for 1st and goal situations and get meaningful positive plays on 1st and goal.
2nd goal from the 6. Huge play here. It's a 3-back set for Worthman. Under center. Worthman's got it. They're going to go to the left. Right, excuse me, outside to McVeigh. He's going to get hard. He's going to go out of bounds. It's Khalid Hudson.
And Lavert Hill met him first.
Hill on the takeout out of bounds, and it's going to be 3rd and goal at around the 15-yard line. A huge play for the Wolverines with under 8 to go.
And it was about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage when Lavert Hill first started pushing Tim McVeigh out of bounds and then got help from teammate Khalid Hudson.
They're gonna give it to him at the 12. 3rd and goal. Huge stop if Michigan can get it. 3rd and goal from the 12.
That play goes down as a loss of 7 and possibly a game-changing play right there by Lavert Hill and Khalid Hudson to put a ton of pressure now on this Air Force offense.
It's the 3-back set for Worthman. I'm pretty surprised. They're going to bring it to the right. They're going to fake outside. They're going to throw. He's got time, but no one open, and he's going to throw it out of the bounds on the back of the end zone. Huge play by the Wolverines. It's going to be 4th and goal, and Strebel's going to come on to try to make this a 6-point game.
And Maurice Hurst and Chase Winovich team up to punish Arion Worthman for even thinking about passing, as they have done all but once this game. Troy Calhoun, Air Force coach, was a little bit upset, was asking for a late hit, but
it was close. That was close.
But
I could have seen it.
definitely. But the referees decided it was a fair play, and we'll see a Luke Strebert field goal attempt.
Here we go. They hike it. It's a good snap. The kick is up. The kick is no good. He missed it. And I believe at the start of the game I called that he would miss a field goal. It's no good. I can't believe it. One of the best kickers in the country just missed from short.
That was only the 5th miss of his entire career. In 2016, he went 22 for 25 on the season, 88%, missing only 3 field goals all season with a long of 45. He actually set his career long today with a 50-yarder, had been having one of the best games of his career, and that was a low kick. Nothing about it looked good. I don't believe it was touched. Winovich had an opportunity to touch it. Possibly he deflected it, but I don't think so. Just a strange kick. You would want to go a lot higher with your arc for a short field goal like that. I don't think he was able to hit it the way he intended to, because that's a rare miss from a guy who was second team all Mountain West last year.
Unbelievable.
And that just must be heartbreaking for the Air Force Falcons. They were going to make this a game, going to force the Wolverine offense to put together a long and impressive drive in order to put this game away.
I mean, that would have been the first. That would have been a one-possession game.
Exactly.
This is real with 7:19 left.
And now the weight of the world is off Wilton Spate's shoulders as he can take a calm, leisurely drive, try to burn clock, and trust his defense to just not give up 2 scores. And Michigan will come away out of this game 3-0. Maybe not the most impressive of fashions, but this Air Force team, I think, is one that many people around the country overlooked. They're coming off of a bye after facing a relatively easy opponent. They got a 62-0 win. Probably their stories were not too tired after that game, and they got a full week to recover, 2 weeks to recover, and get ready for this Michigan team. 10-3 last year. They've had a great string of winning seasons lately under head coach Troy Calhoun in his 11th season as Air Force coach. This is any team with Air Force on their schedule down the road should be intimidated by this team. They really force you to play the kind of game they want you to play. And the Wolverines right now are looking very comfortably at a 9-point lead with 7:19 to go in this 4th quarter.
The Wolverines have a lot to work on right now, as the Wilton Spate in this offense has scored five field goals, 0 touchdowns. The touchdowns was a special teams shot. Michigan's going to take over after the missed 30-yard field goal from Luke Strebel. They'll get it at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 for Wilton Spate and the Wolverines.
And a couple other score updates. Oklahoma State still comfortably ahead of Pittsburgh, 56-21. And UCLA, the 3rd-ranked team in action, is trailing Memphis still, 31-34.
3rd rank. What are they ranked? What is UCLA?
25th. They're right.
Okay,
they just snuck in there.
I thought you said 3rd rank.
Oh, no.
UCLA is not 3rd ranked, man. All right, I formation for Spate. He's just going to try to run the ball. They put a guy in motion. That's McKean. They hike it. They fake it. They're going to fake it to Isaac. They're going to get it outside. That's a complete pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones, who just hit hard out of bounds. He didn't go down, so they're not going to throw the flag. It's a gain of 15 and a 1st down for the Wolverines.
And Peoples-Jones continuing to help every other Wolverine in making sure that Quinn Norton does not become MVP of this game.
Well, this might be Peoples-Jones as well. He's had the only touchdown. Spate taking his time, under 7 to go. Michigan up 9.
Imagine if the Wolverines had a better red zone offense. They put up 22 points despite 0 offensive touchdowns.
They've scored 6 times. They've scored 6 times for 22 points. They hike the ball to give to Ty Isaac. He's going to go nowhere. Oh, nowhere. They're going to give him back to the line, tackled by Garrett Coppola.
And Isaac does not want to get up off the ground. He looks in pain. It appeared he let go of the ball after being tackled because some Air Force Falcons decided to jump on the ball, try to recover what they thought was a fumble. No, he actually had the ball the whole time. He just threw it up to a trainer. But he looks like he's in pain, holding his midsection as for...
Wow, Air Force has a guy down too.
Yeah, a violent collision on that play. I can't tell which Falcon is hurt. He just got up, but 2 trainers are around him. It appears to be one of their front linemen, number 96, I believe.
That's Cody Moorhead, the defensive end, senior out of Newcastle, Washington. He's going to walk off, as is Ty Isaac.
Great to see all players to go down so far this game have been able to walk up under their own power.
Sure sounded I thought you were going to say it seems good that they're going down, but you're right that they're getting up. That is important, and the Wolverines are going to have 2nd and 11 from their 34-yard line. 6.5 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Wolverines up 9.
As both defense and offense get in the huddle, waiting for this injury timeout to end. And another update, the UCLA, the 25th ranked team in the nation, who is one of 3 ranked teams playing, as I should say, as not to cause confusion. Josh Rosen just threw a pick 6, and now Memphis leads 41-31. And the only other Big Ten action at the moment is Nebraska, who has overcome a 14-0 first quarter deficit to make it a 17-14 game. And now both teams take the field.
Wolverines ready. Spate in the gun on 2nd and 11. Clock is running. He can bring it down to about 5:50 to go. He's going to just hike it with 6:25 left. It's going to be a screen that looks like it's Tariq Black. Shaquille Vereen on the tackle, and just like that, it's 3rd and about 10 for the Wolverines. Big throw here for Spate.
And Air Force has now called their first timeout. Seems maybe a little bit early, but Calhoun elects to take a timeout, leaving 6:21 on the clock. And now, interesting to see, will the Wolverines go conservative again, just run the ball to try to force Air Force to use another timeout? Or will they try to get downfield and put this game away? What do you think you'll see here, Chris? Pass or run?
You know, it's really hard because when you pass the ball, you know you're probably not getting 10 yards because Spate's arm can easily turn this over. We've seen pick 6s, and a pick 6 here would be just incredibly deflating. However, when you run the ball, you're essentially giving up. It's really hard on this play call. I would say throw the ball. Just tell Spate to be super careful with it, even though you probably don't trust him very much. I would say give Spate the ball, maybe roll out and try to find Black or somebody to make a play. Peoples-Jones, this has been his game. They might try to find the freshman, and it's just really hard. Grant Perry hasn't really made a play today, so it's tough. I would say throw the ball, but it's definitely close.
The Wolverines attempted a screen pass on their last play, so that might be a little bit too fresh in the mind of the Air Force defense to attempt again, which could be a good play call here on 3rd and 10. So we'll have to see what Harbaugh comes up with. The fans may not like it, but they may have to go for a run here. Michigan caught a huge break as Air Force's very consistent kicker, Luke Streffel, misses only the 5th missed field goal of his career. And I think Michigan might take advantage of that lucky break and try to run the clock down now that they have a 2-point lead. Points are not as important here as field position, time of game, not turning it over. Air Force has had pretty awful field position all second half. They've made 10 points out of it, though. But we have seen them dig themselves in. They've either put together a great drive or dug themselves into a huge hole and had to give Donovan Peoples-Jones great return yardage and set up the Wolverines in great field goal position.
The ball is spotted at the 35. Will Hart can send this back inside the 20.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've seen him do that before. We've seen him, it's a 50-yard kick, and he can do that. And if Air Force has it with about 5.5 to go, ball at the 20, down 9, that's really hard against this Michigan defense to try to do anything, especially when you're running the ball and that's your offense. That's chewing the clock. This second half has gone fast. It's 2:55. Usually these games don't end until about 3:30, 3:45, but Air Force's rush has run this clock down.
That last drive, while impressive, resulted in 0 points for the Air Force Falcons and took up just a ton of time. That was incredibly costly for this team, and they really can't afford to run their typical offense. Arion Worthman is going to be very out of his comfort zone when the Falcons eventually get this ball back. Maybe not right away, but I don't think Michigan will use up the remaining 6:21 left on the clock on this drive.
Spate is in the gun. He's got Karan Higdon to his right. Puts Nick Eubanks in motion. He's got the blitz, plenty of time. He's going to go outside. That's complete pass to Crawford. No, he's going to drop it. Oh, it was a good pass to Crawford, but he drops the football at 6:16.
And Spate found his man, delivered a good pass, and this time his wide receivers failed him. The Michigan receiving corps really needs to make sure whenever Spate delivers a great ball, they have to take advantage of it. Also,
wide open.
Important to note that Ty Isaac is on the bench right now without his helmet on, so he may not return to this game.
Here comes Will Hart. Let's see how far he can kick it. Back to deep for Air Force is Ronald Cleveland. Here we go. It's a good snap. The punt is up. Cleveland going to go back. Oh, it's going to go out of bounds. Oh, it's going to go out of bounds. Oh, not a good kick at all. The referee stops at the 40-yard line, and that is where Air Force will take over with 6:10 to go. This game is not over.
Besides a blocked punt, that is the absolute last thing the Wolverines wanted to see on that punt. And now that leaves Air Force with 6:10 to go. Down 9. They're going to have only a 60-yard field ahead of them. They can easily score a quick touchdown here and make this very much a game. Keep in mind, Michigan has no timeouts, and Air Force used 1 to stop the clock on that previous drive.
1st and 10 from their own 40. Big drive here. Game-deciding drive right here.
Let's see if the Air Force Falcons start passing more on this drive.
Worthman has the 3-back set. Tight end to his left and right. They're going to roll right now. He's going to throw. He's going to run outside. He's going to get hit hard by 3 Wolverines. He's sacked at the 32-yard line. A loss of 8. 2nd and 18.
Worthman had a Wolverine coming in to sandwich him from every single direction.
That was good.
Watson, Winovich, and I believe Rashawn Gary being the 3 Wolverines. Yes, it is Gary as the 3rd to come in and all tackle him all at once, punishing Worthman again for attempting to pass the ball.
And we see it here. They're already this has already been about a minute drive, and it's been 1 play. They hike it to the right. Oh, it looked like he got hit. The block in the back against Khalid Hudson, no call. They're going to give it to the 35-yard line. They're going a little quicker, but it's 3rd and 15. Huge play here.
And McVay can knock it out of bounds. The clock continues to run. 5:21, 5:20. And now, Chris, do you think is this 4-down territory for the Falcons?
It's not 4-down territory with 2 timeouts. It's really hard. But with the Michigan offense playing how they're playing, I don't think this is 4-down territory. Here we go. 3rd and 14. Worthman in the gun. He looks uncomfortable. Parker Wilson to his right. He's got it. He's going to throw. He's going to get hit hard. The ball's not even close to a receiver.
Noah
Intended
Furbush.
for Ryan Riffett. And it's going to be 4th and 14.
And Worthman did not have enough time to set the throw or even think about where he wanted to place that ball. Lands nowhere near the intended receiver. Noah Furbush brings the pain. And now Peoples-Jones is back to return. Important note, Isaac just walked off to the locker room. I don't anticipate seeing him for the rest of the game.
Yep, he's walking off.
The Wolverines' leading carrier, he has 89 yards today, averaging 5.6 yards a carry.
And if Furbish didn't get that sack, then Devin Bush was right behind him. Here comes the punt from Charlie Scott. It's not a fake. It's up ahead. Peoples-Jones waving for a fair catch right at the 27-yard line. And that is where Michigan will take over. 4:50 to go here in the 4th quarter.
And this is undoubtedly Peoples-Jones' best game of his career. He returned that punt, obviously, has had the most yards he's produced for offense. And perhaps maybe most importantly to Jim Harbaugh, he has learned to call fair catch. That appeared to be a deliberate, not incredibly long, but very high-hanging punt by the Air Force Falcons. It served its purpose, and Peoples-Jones does not get a return off.
Now, when Michigan burns 2 to 3 minutes here, I got to think it's 4-down territory then for Air Force. 3-back set for Spate. McKeon out to the left. They take him out. They hike the ball. It's a give to Higdon. Higdon goes up to the left. He's going to try to break it outside. He won't. They'll mark it at the 30-yard line, and the clock ticks. They can bring it to about 4 minutes to go here in the 4th.
Kyle Floyd on the tackle. Higdon shook off a few would-be tacklers, but is not able to had good blocking. And actually, I believe that is Coppola who brought him down along with Floyd. But a 3-yard rush, and Air Force still only has 2 timeouts. I anticipate them to use their next timeout should Michigan not pick up the first down on this ensuing play.
Karan Higdon back. Once again, we haven't seen Chris Evans since the fumble, which is very interesting. Karan Higdon, the lone back. They put McDoom in motion. All to the left. They're going to hand it off to Higdon up the middle. He's going to get to the 30, up to the 33-yard line. Give them 3 yards, and it's 3rd and 4. They can bring this to about 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
John Floor and Garrett Coppola on the tackle sets up 3rd and 4. Air Force still has not used their timeout. I suppose they think they'll have to give the ball to Michigan one last time, although you'd have to think with 3:40 and counting left in this game, they might not have enough time to do anything besides score an onside kick if they are to score once again.
I would agree. Here we go. Spate in the shotgun. Karan Higdon to his right. 2 receivers to the right, 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Higdon lone back. He's going to throw. It's a blitz. And he's going to find his man. That's Crawford. And there he goes to the 50. Breaks tackle 45 down to the 43-yard line in Air Force territory.
And it's Tariq Black actually with the reception.
Oh, it looked like a 1. It is Tariq Black. That's my bad.
And he had Air Force defenders on him basically the second he caught the ball, covering his number and his entire jersey, and is able to rush for about 10 to 15 yards after the reception. And most importantly, he stays in bounds, and the clock continues to run now. 3:14, 3:13.
Michigan can bring it down to about 2 minutes 40 seconds on first down. You gotta assume they're going to give it back to Karan Higdon, who's the lone back right now. Spate's going to bring it down. He's got another 20 seconds he can burn. No reason to hike the ball until 15 seconds on the clock.
Absolutely.
He's ready at 10. He still hasn't hiked the ball. Down to 7, down to 6, down to 5. He hikes the ball at 3. Hand off to Higdon. He's going to get hit hard. He's going to go ahead to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 3, and Michigan can bring it just under 2 minutes here.
And Air Force is, as they normally do, 100% selling out on the run. They blitzed 2 corners on that play to try to hit Higdon in the backfield. Yet to call a timeout. I would have to think they'll call a timeout after this
and
play.
They will. 2:35 to go. They're going to use their second charge timeout. Nope. They're going to reset it to 2:38, and on 2nd and 7, Air Force calls their second timeout of the game.
And trying to do some quick math, if Michigan picks up the first down, I don't think they'll have enough. They will be able
to. With 1 timeout, they don't have enough. They can bring it to about 40 seconds. If there was no timeouts, if they get it on 3rd down. Now, if they get a first down on 3rd down, they will be able to run out the clock. Yes, if they can get a first down on 3rd down, they'll be able to run this thing out. It's 2nd and 7 right now. Assuming they use their final timeout with about 2:30 on 3rd down, they'll be able to take down the clock to about 2 minutes times 3 plays. 40 seconds of play would be about 2 minutes. So a first down on 3rd down would end this game.
And nonetheless, Air Force will not get this ball back until there's under 2 minutes left, no matter what happens. And they've completed 1 pass all game, and that's when the defense was selling out on the run. I formation for the Wolverines.
Chris Evans finally back in the I formation. They get it to him outside to the right. He's going to go inside. He's got room to the 35, down to the 30-yard line. And with 2:32, the clock stops. And Air Force will use their final timeout. Excuse me, no, they're going to let this thing go to about 2 minutes.
And Chris Evans redeems himself.
Chris Evans.
Basically putting this game on ice. Not that there was much to be worried about with, once again, a team that's completed 1 pass all day and really is not used to throwing passes while the defense is expecting a passing play. This game is more or less over. We'll see what the Wolverines do here to try to run down the clock.
In the I formation, it's once again Chris Evans. They hike it at 2 minutes. He rolls to the left. He's got room to the 25, cuts it back to the 20. It would be a first down, which would end it, but a hold is going to bring this one back.
And that takes Michigan out of field goal territory, probably. I'm not even sure if they would kick it if they were in a kicking situation with about 10 or 15 seconds left. Honestly, the threat of a blocked and returned field goal might be greater than any threat from the Air Force offense at this point.
Exactly, yep. And they are going to call holding.
Looks like that's
on Michael Onwenu, who is the right guard for the Wolverines. Spate meeting with Harbaugh here. 1:56 to go. 1st and 10 at the 30. Air Force 1 timeout left. Michigan can get this to about 30 seconds, and a first down would end this game.
And Evans is the lone running back in the backfield.
Spade under center. Evans lone back. He's got it. It's a give to Evans up the middle, and he's going to get hit hard. Oh, he's going to get hit hard. That's Grant Ross, their only returning starter. And Air Force will call their final timeout at 1:53. And like we said, Michigan can take this thing down to about 30 seconds. 22-13, and the Michigan Wolverines are going to go to 3-0 on the season. Air Force is going to fall to 1-1.
Still, I expect good things from this Air Force Falcons team. They had the exact same record as Michigan last year, both teams going 10-3. They put up a good fight. Their defense bent, but it did not break really throughout the entire game. Were it not for one Donovan Peoples-Jones punt return and a missed field goal, they could be leading this game at this moment.
Michigan will head on their road for their first road game against Purdue next week at 4 p.m. You can catch that here on WCBNsports.org. And it's garbage time now, 1:53 remaining. Spates ready. Neither team has a timeout left. I formation. Chris Evans ready to take it. Karan Higdon, he's going to take it to the left. He's going to get hit hard to the 37, and 2nd and 18 will lead to about a 3rd and 16. And they won't have to hike the ball until about 1:05 left in this one.
Which will mean that, given that the play will take 3 or 4 seconds, we will not see Air Force with the ball in their hands until about 20 seconds left. Anticipate a conservative play call here and then a small punt to put this game away for the Wolverines.
Under center, I formation, 10 still on the clock. It's Karan Higdon. They put McKeon in motion. They hike it at 3. It's another handoff. He's going to roll to the left. He's got room. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Put it on ice. Touchdown, Michigan. Karan Higdon. 1:02 to go. Michigan scores 28-13, pending the extra point.
And Karan Higdon gives all the Wolverine fans out here today a nice surprise. Ends this game on a lot more exciting note than I think anyone foresaw.
And a 16-point victory. You know, it's a victory in itself, but 16 points, it looks just fine for the folks that are voting for the rankings. And a 29-13 victory, it looks like, is what we're going to get. And that's exactly what number 7 Michigan needed. Quinn Nordine on for the extra point. Malzone the holder. They hike it. It's a good snap. The kick is up. The kick is good.
And I don't think the Wolverines needed any extra style points in this game. Air Force is a very respectable opponent. But Karan Higdon just puts the cherry on top with a fantastic outside run and outran the entire Air Force defense. Did not look like too intricate of a play call, just a simple counter. And he outran every single Air Force defender and beat them all to the end zone untouched. So what looked close at times ends up becoming a pretty comfortable Wolverines victory. Still, no touchdowns from coming inside the red zone, and I think that will be Harbaugh's biggest concern. The team was able to fix their turnover bug, only allowing 1 turnover so far today as opposed to 2 in the first 2 games they played this season. Meanwhile, Air Force will drop to 1-1 with some encouraging signs from this game. Limited Michigan's big play ability and got their own large 64-yard touchdown. But ultimately not the result Air Force was looking for.
James Fogue is ready. Cleveland and Timothy McVeigh back deep for the Falcons. The windup and the kick. And they're going to let that thing roll out to the back of the end zone. It's another touchback for Fogue and a first down with 1:02 to go. The game is over, but maybe Air Force can get something going on. 29-13 is your score.
It will be interesting to see what Air Force does here. Technically still a 2-score game, but
sure.
This is a team that really very few times we've seen them today get into the gun or anything that would indicate passing. Their lone touchdown came off of what seemed like a running down. I was caught off guard. In fact, I predicted right before that play that Air Force would continue to run the rock, but they are now in the gun.
They're in the gun. That's not Worthman. That's the backup. That's Nate Romine. Let's see what he's got. He picks up the snap off the ground. He's going to throw. Not even close. Mike McCray on the coverage tips it down. And it'll be 2nd down.
And there is a flag down. It's in the backfield. I anticipate holding here.
It's a late hit. It's a late hit on the quarterback, Romine. Give him 15 yards.
And that's just reckless. At this point in the game, you really have no excuse to be hitting a player late. The game is really, well, it's still a 2-score game, not very competitive. I think both teams know that this game is effectively over. And I'm sure he'll be getting an earful as he goes back to the sideline.
I would agree.
Game.
Romine in the gun. 1st and 10 from their own 40. They hike it. They're going to throw. He gets hit, but he's going to run. Romine's got it at the 40. 45-50. Over to the Michigan side of the field at the 48-yard line. They'll stop at 50 seconds to move the chains. And just like that, Air Force might be onto something as the clock ticks 45 and counting.
And the backup quarterback doing an imitation of the starter, Arian Worthman, with an impressive carry.
Romine taking his time down to 30 seconds. They'll hike it in the shotgun. They're going to blitz. They're going to throw. Incomplete. Coverage by Kalik Hudson.
And Romine has really had no open players at all. Every single receiver has been covered by Blue and Mays. We will have to see if Romine, who seems to be their passing situation quarterback, at least in a situation like this, if he can get his first completion of the day and double Air Force's completions for this game.
Here we go, 27 seconds, 2nd and 10 from the Michigan 48. Romine's got it, picks up the snap from the ground again. Now he's going to have to run, Michigan on him. Now he's going to go throw deep, and it's going to be picked off. That's Kalik Hudson. It wasn't close, it was way underthrown, and the Michigan Wolverines are going to win this game 29-13.
19 seconds to play. No questions here. We tried to figure out what the Wolverines are going to be doing on their last drive. We will undoubtedly see victory formation. And when all is said and done, Air Force quarterbacks will have completed as many passes to their own Air Force receivers as they have to Michigan defenders.
1-1. There you go. Spate's going to take a knee. Daniel, final thoughts. What have we learned today as the Michigan Wolverines will defeat Air Force 29-13?
Red zone offense still needs a lot of work. Wilton Spate showed some composure, but was not always great. I think a better performance than a lot of Wolverine fans may have been concerned about. Nonetheless, this offense has a lot of work to do.
The knee is taken. Your final score, 29-13. Total yardage is 359-232 in favor of Michigan. Michigan also takes the passing 169-64 and the rushing 190-168. First downs are 17-15 in favor of Michigan, and time of possession is almost even, 31-29 in favor of Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this broadcast. Tonight at 7 o'clock, the Michigan volleyball team takes on Cincinnati. That'll be live on WCBNsports.org as well as WCBN 88.3 FM. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll give you a good night and a Go Blue.